All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. We are live. I am on time. And we've got a lot to talk about. Folks, we got crypto giving us a bounce. It's very exciting to see. We got a lot to talk about going into FOMC tomorrow, which is going to be very, very important. I will be live tomorrow at 2:20 p.m. Eastern. We will get a decision at 2 p.m. We will get the FOMC meeting at 2:30. 87.4% chance of us getting that rate cut. The real story of the day, potentially front running that rate cut, is Bitcoin. We got to 94 today. We got to 94,627 on the day, which was very, very exciting to see. It's been a while since we got back to those levels. 95 has not been seen for a month. 94 we saw a little bit earlier, a week ago. Weren't able to hold 94, but the fact that we're holding 93 right now is exciting. BMNR was almost up 10% on the day. At one point, it was at 39.79. Right now at 38.88. S&P is flat, which is kind of weird. You would think S&P actually makes a rebound. And then Ethereum breaking above 3,300. Nice to see, but it's not necessarily translating to some of the crypto derivative plays. Robinhood was at 139, came all the way back down to 136. You had Coinbase that got up to, where did Coinbase get to? Around 290-ish, now back down to 277, 284, back to 277. So some of these crypto names getting sold off, BMNR holding on to its momentum. Same thing with MicroStrategy, given those are more directly correlated with crypto. Wow, MicroStrategy was actually 198, now back down to 189. So it's kind of weird price action today. Meta's down 2%. NVIDIA couldn't find a way to go green, even though you had a bunch of bullish headlines for NVIDIA last night based on what happened with China. NVIDIA right there down about 0.6% on the day. And then the S&P 500 basically flat on the day at 683. This one also could not necessarily make the move higher. I'm not really sure what to make of this price action. I do think there's a world in which we might be setting up for a rug pull tomorrow, not because I want it to happen, just because I mean, the price action is weird. Usually you get an everything rally and you're not really getting that. You're getting a crypto rally, which you would think crypto is the last thing to rally in the context of the broader market if it's pumping on a rate cut. But maybe the equity market's already trading close to an all-time high and crypto's been sold off more than the equity markets. And so that could be an argument. But it is definitely weird to say the least. CoreWeave right there, that's up 5%. The data center plays did get a lot of love today. IREN, that's up about 1%. It was up more. Nebius was pushing 100. Now it's back down to 97. That's down 3% of the day. The Qs are basically flat at 625, Nubank's at 1667. And then you had GLXY, which had a monster move today. I think there's more than just the upgrade they got from a couple firms to $60, but that's up 12.87% today. A lot of those Bitcoin mining AI HPC firms ended up getting some momentum. Bitcoin is now flat for the year. That is correct. Up 0% this year, but at least it's better than being back at that 82,000 level range. It was at 2 weeks ago. Rocket Lab 5333. We talked about the Rocket Lab news this morning. Looks like they are more likely to get to Neutron, or Neutron looks like it's the framework for the payloads being able to be carried out by a Neutron launch system. Seems like it's more likely based on the Hippo stuff we were talking about in the morning. So I think that is your reason for why Rocket Lab's getting a bit of a bid. And also, ASTS got a bid last week along with Rocket Lab. Both of those breaking out. ASTS 73 on the day and the Rocket Lab at 53. Meta right here at 657. So I think the real story of the day is confusing price action, and that price action for why it's not translating to the S&P 500, I also think has to do with the Fed survey. So let's look at that real quick, because it's not necessarily the most conclusive on the path to a rate cut, which would mean crypto shouldn't be up as much, but nonetheless, you're getting some mixed data right here.
Cut. That is a cut followed by a pause. And I'll talk more about the pause at the end here, but it also shows deep divisions over whether the Fed should be cutting at all. And I think that reflects some of the views on the committee itself. Take a look here at the Fed expectations. 87% think the Fed will cut this week, but only 45% think the Fed should cut. And that's a pretty big gap for this particular group of 38 fund managers, analysts, and economists. 2 dissents are expected, and 35%, that's the probability of a cut in January in this survey. Scott Wren of Wells Fargo Investment Institute, he writes in, the Fed will cut in December, even though you can make a very rational argument that they should not do anything. Continued high inflation is the...
Okay, we'll go back to that in a second, but I think that kind of paints the picture for why the rate cut probabilities for 2026 are not as strong. I'm seeing some breaking news right here. SpaceX considering 2026 IPO at a $1.5 trillion valuation. That's also probably explaining why Rocket Lab's getting a move. Now, we do have to be careful about this, guys, because did SpaceX actually say this, or do we have people speculating? Because until a lot of times Elon Musk companies get misreported. And the weird thing is they got a 800 billion secondary share offer last week, which I think SpaceX ended up confirming. But this seems like a rumor more than anything else. So, I mean, bullish, but we don't actually know if it's true. Also, why would they come out and say we want to go public next year after just selling shares at 800 billion? This does not come from the information. I think this came from Bloomberg. So I'll try to get an update on that. Let's go back to what the Fed survey was saying. But I mean, this definitely can pump Rocket Lab of SpaceX. And Rocket Lab's at 30 billion, SpaceX at 1.5 trillion. You're definitely going to get some people excited about Rocket Lab if they actually do go public in 2026. The first one, this would be the first $1 trillion IPO since Saudi Aramco. And that would, that was an oil company. This is a much more, I guess one could argue, that was a state-owned company that used natural resources. This is like a space company. So this would be a pretty big deal at 1.5 trillion. But I think we need some actual confirmation on this versus just the rumors right now.
Number one risk to the economy right now, and that's up from number 4 in the October survey. The AI bubble bursting is a new addition to our risks here, along with concern about Fed independence, the fiscal deficit, and uncertainty surrounding administration's economic policy. Meanwhile, take a look, though, the growth outlook has really been ticking up, running at 2% this year and higher next year, while inflation, that's the problem. Forecasts remain above the 2% target and actually closer to 3%. Still, several respondents are saying the Fed needs to cut because of either actual or forecast weakness in the job market. Alan Sinai of Decision Economics writes in, quote, the Federal Reserve is behind the curve again, this time on the widespread weakening of the labor market. A preemptive 50 basis point cut in the federal funds rate is the right thing to do. That's what likely motivates this cut at this meeting. The greater risk that when the data finally come out, it's going to show a weaker labor market rather than the risk that it will show higher inflation. And Scott, I was just doing some math here. I'm pretty sure this is a change, but I do not have a follow-on cut to December priced into the Fed funds futures market until June now, where it's slightly below 50 for April, but then it goes up to 72% for June. That would make this Powell's last cut tomorrow.
So that means they're pricing in 2 more cuts going into 2026, which obviously is not the most bullish. And this would be Jay Powell's last cut at that point, because then the next cut would happen after May of 2026, which is when Jay Powell would already be replaced at that point. So, I mean, we're going to have to see how this ends up playing out. But I think the split on the Fed survey, based on what we just heard, is part of the reason the equity markets aren't making that much of a move now. Why are crypto markets moving? Honestly, I'm not that sure. But you're not necessarily stepping into a dovish cut. And we all kind of knew it would be a hawkish cut. But it does seem like we are confirming tomorrow is going to be hawkish. This is what Trump said yesterday or this morning when he was asked about who the next Fed chair is going to have to be.
I want to ask about interest rates, because a lot of Americans agree with you that they're too high. You're going to pick a new Fed chair soon. Is it a litmus test that the new chair lower interest rates immediately?
Yes. Well, this guy should too, but I think he's a combination of not a smart person and doesn't like Trump.
I want to ask about interest.
Obviously, you can tell Trump wants someone who's going to cut these rates, and that is the litmus test for who's going to be the next Fed chair, which really makes me think it's going to be Hassett, because who can he confirm is going to cut rates? I mean, there's not that many people where he can like 1,000% guarantee they're going to cut rates other than Hassett. So, I mean, you've got a lot of other candidates right there, but I do think Hassett is going to end up getting into the front of that race. S&P going red, Hoodie going red, Meta continuing red, a lot of names going red, Bitcoin and Ethereum holding on. Quite incredible to see them holding their momentum. Gold is at a high of day, 42.12, and then silver is at a high of day, 60.79. Silver up 5% in a day. You don't see that often. You do not see the commodities, especially silver, have a type of day that it's having today. But there you go, 4.7% on silver as that one continues to make some momentum. Again, the SpaceX news, for those that are just joining, I really wouldn't trust it yet. I think that's why Rocket Lab is getting a little bit of a pump, most likely. That candle, Rocket Lab tends to be correlated with a lot of the news around SpaceX. And didn't Elon come out and say that the $800 billion news wasn't true? I mean, I think there were some secondary sales at 800 billion, but like this massive, massive sale of 800 billion worth of stock, or stock that would lead to the company being worth 800 billion. A lot of the numbers ended up coming out to 600 billion. So if Bloomberg's confirming the rumor right here, it's probably because Bloomberg started the rumor. So I don't necessarily think that this is definitely true. SpaceX set to pursue 2026 IPO, raising far above 30 billion. SpaceX sees valuation of about 1.5 trillion in public offering. I mean, this just broke. So if Elon comes out anytime soon and says this is false, we'll see. Look, regardless, we know SpaceX is going to go public one day. The question is if it's going to go public next year. If it is, you can't blame them. It's a hot market. And if it's a hot market, then, you know, that's where you want to take advantage of it. We had rumors last week of Anthropic also saying that they want to go public pretty soon. Well, not Anthropic saying it. People who are close to Anthropic saying it. But, you know, does Anthropic want to deal with being a public company? We're going to have to see how that ends up playing out. So it looks like that's what we have as we get into the close. Again, that SpaceX news, we'll see how that plays out. We got 3 minutes left until the market closes. We will have Technical Tuesday. We only have GameStop earnings today. Tomorrow's going to be very important with Oracle and Adobe. And then Thursday, we have Broadcom. Broadcom continuing to pump today. I think that's an all-time high. Wow, 1.92 trillion on Broadcom. Has massively outperformed every other Mag 7, including NVIDIA. I think year to date, it's pushing triple digits. Yeah, 74% year to date. I mean, this is, if they deliver one of those quarters, this is going to be a $2 trillion company. And it's hard to imagine that one not being part of that Mag 10. Broadcom right there, 405.93. ASTS down about 1.5%. Rocket Lab still moving. Nebius, not sure why Nebius was going down when CoreWeave's going up. Nebius did acquire some land in Missouri today. That was the headline we had for them. Corey right there, 90.82. That's up 5.3%. Bitcoin still holding 93. Meta, I still don't know why Meta fell today. I don't think it's the Google glasses. I don't think it's Meta's new avocado model. Maybe it's just people taking profits, but that one was weird to say. Robinhood, that one goes red. Oscar's up a little bit. Lemonade's up a little bit. Micron up 2.29%. Micron very close to an all-time high. And then Netflix right there at 96.68. You did have the Netflix CEO at a conference, and here is what he said this morning around what's going on with HBO Max.
We go from 8% of view hours today in the United States to 9%. So we're still behind YouTube at 13%. And potentially worth noting that we would be behind what would be if Paramount combined with WBD, them at 14%. So we think that there's a really strong fundamentals-based case here for why regulators should approve this deal.
I think he is right about that. However, it goes down to Trump and the political nature of if this is going to actually pay out. It seems like this deal has completely gone political at this point. And we're going to see if that ends up playing out towards the end of the end of the year or early into next year. I did buy a stock today, SOFI. I bought some more SOFI. I bought basically at around this price, 26.87, 26.89. I saw it below 27 and I was like, all right, I'm going to buy some more SOFI. So did buy some more SOFI today. I don't know what's going on. I know they diluted. The dilution already happened yesterday at 27.50. It was completed, 1.5 billion. I am hoping Noto has a plan with that money. I don't think they're just diluting for the sake of diluting. So I don't know. Going into a rate cut, I think this one kind of is dumb below 30. So I added to SOFI today. That was the only stock I bought today. But I am confused why it's getting hit as badly as it's getting hit. NVIDIA right there trying to get to 185. We got 2 seconds until the market closes. All right, that is it for today. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Tuesday, December 9th, 4 p.m. Stock market is now closed. All right, we are done for the day as we are closed. S&P 683, literally flat for the day. Did not make a move up or down, down about 59 cents, nothing too crazy. CoreWeave was up 5%. Broadcom up another 1.29%. SoFi down another 2.83%, closed at 26.83. NVIDIA just closed right under 185. Again, it got to 190 based on that China news. China came out and said, we don't want the H200s. Market got upset about that, so NVIDIA came right back down. It is up above that 170 level that we saw 2 weeks ago, which is nice to see. but NVIDIA right there at 184. Also, our boy Chris is now long NVIDIA. Which was nice to see. So you got Chris who's jumping on the NVIDIA train. Meta right there at 656. That's down 1.4%. Bitcoin 93. Ethereum 3,300. BMNR, great day along with MicroStrategy. After a lot of crappy days, BMNR right there up 9.3%. We didn't touch 40. We got really close. Closed at 39.18. Got to 39.79, but did not get to 40. AMKR right there closed just 10 cents down on the day, 44.61. RKLB again, that SpaceX rumor really helping get that green candle at the end of the day. 53.43 on the idea that SpaceX potentially is going public at a $1.5 trillion valuation. I think it's possible. I kind of just think it's a little unlikely, but maybe Elon wants to get this thing public going into 2026. So we're going to see if that ends up playing out. Rivian right there, that was up a little bit on the day. ORCL was down 0.64% on the day. Bloom Energy was down about 2%. Microsoft up 0.2%. And then Lilly lost 1,000. Wow. Not sure why Lilly got hit today. Healthcare stocks seems like they didn't get the rotation. UNH also ended up going flat in the day after being up 2% in the morning. Broadcom right there, 406, still moving after hours. And the NBIS closed down about 3.9% on the day. And that is what we got. Okay, JP Morgan Chase. Let's talk about that real quick. A couple other headlines, then we'll get Jason on for Technical Tuesday. JP Morgan Chase. So remember 2 weeks ago, I was like being a nerd one night and I was going through JP Morgan's earnings, not because I owned the stock, just because I felt like going through their earnings. And we talked about their credit loss provisions being better than expected, or at least the results not matching their credit loss provisions by 400 million, which is a good sign. That means that they had less delinquent loans. Well, Jamie Dimon came out at some conference today and he was like, yeah, I think we're going to have really bad loans soon. And as soon as he said that, the market was just like, so you're telling us you think your loans are going to be bad? And Jamie Dimon was just like, yeah, I think, remember he made that cockroach statement? He ended up continuing to, I guess, just double down on that statement. And that's when JP Morgan immediately fell 4%, which it's a $800 billion company. That thing falling 4% is pretty nasty move. Let's get an update on the SpaceX news, but that is why JP Morgan got, quite frankly, that might be why SOFI got hit as well. If all the banks should be expecting higher credit loss provisions, I mean, that could be a reason why SOFI took a hit.
Report says they're looking for a $1.5 trillion valuation and seeks to raise more than $30 billion in its IPO. As far as timing, that's between mid to late next year they're targeting, at least according to this report. That piles on, Scott, to the reports that we heard in the Journal and the information in recent days that they're doing a tender sale that would be a valuation of about $800 billion. And also, as our Robert Frank has been reporting today, all throughout today, this is kind of the reason why Tesla did that big pay package for Musk, the idea that more of his wealth and perhaps attention could be tied up in his other ventures besides Tesla. So that's why he got that big pay package as well. So we'll see how that turns out. I know our David Faber's chasing this one down as well, Scott.
All right, so I'm going to wait till Elon gives us confirmation on that. But as of now, that 1.5 trillion are reports that are not fully confirmed yet. We do have GameStop earnings. What do we got on GME? We are down 3% for GameStop. They missed revenue by 17%. They beat EPS by 20%. 24 cents versus 20 cents expected. That's a beat. Revenue 821 versus 987. That's a miss. That's a pretty ugly miss. That's almost $100 million miss. Revenue is down 5% year over year. EPS, which quite frankly is more important to me than revenue, especially for a company of their size, is up 300% year over year. I don't think management does Q&A on their calls, so we'll see if we can get any more details from their earnings. Their trading card business has been the thing that's been growing the most, but GameStop right there down about 2.8%. They also still have, I think, like 5,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet, 4,000 Bitcoin, something like that, and about 8 billion in cash. Not 8 billion, maybe like 5 billion in cash. But GameStop right there, that's down 3%. Palantir getting a little move after hours. I don't know if there's any news on Palantir. We'll see in a second. It is getting a 0.5% move. Bitmine moving a little bit after hours, and then the S&P 500 right there at 683. You're also seeing nothing crazy right there. But that SpaceX news, again, that is kind of that core news that got Rocket Lab to move. And we're going to see if it actually has any implication on the company actually going public, which Again, I just think it's kind of early. I know they've been private for a long time, but I was thinking 2027, 2028, we were going to see that happening. But maybe it is sooner than that. Oh, wow. GE Veranova boosts their buyback to 10 billion from 6 billion, doubles the dividend to 50 cents. Wow. Did not expect to see that. Look at that. That stock's up 3% after hours. GE Veranova up 85% year to date. Oh, that's a massive move. 6 to 10 billion on the buyback and doubling the divvy. Look at that. That is very, very exciting right there. That stock moving after hours on that piece of news. As GE Veranova continuing to get some momentum again. This is another one of those energy plays that has done very, very well this year. And it looks like it's continuing to get some excitement on this report. Let me see if I can get that Jamie Dimon clip on what he said about credit. I think that was the bigger story for why that one got hit today. But again, he did say that he simply feels that there is going to be a lot more delinquencies than expected. And yeah, here it is right here. And then all the banks, I guess, took a hit once that came out.
Hey, Scott. Yeah, JP Morgan CEO of Consumer and Community Banking, Marianne Lake, providing guidance on expenses that was a bit of a negative surprise to the market, above expectations. Lake presented right here at the Goldman Sachs Financial Services Conference in New York City, where she said she expects 2026 expenses for the overall company to be $105 billion. That's more than $4 billion higher than consensus and about 10% higher than what JP Morgan has guided for 2025. Lake said the biggest bucket of growth in the expenses is, quote, volume and growth related expenses. These are things like incentive compensation for advisors or product marketing expense. She also said the firm's card refresh has created an uptick. The second biggest driver will be from strategic investments, the firm building out branches, adding bankers, adding advisors, investing in marketing and AI. And lastly, the smallest bucket driving the uptick in expenses, according to Lake, will stem from the structural consequences of inflation. Those are her words, including real estate costs. Now, these seem somewhat idiosyncratic, but shares of B of A, Wells Fargo, and Citi did fall in sympathy today with those comments, Scott.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the group.
Yeah, there's your explanation for SOFI. I actually was wondering why SOFI was getting hit. There's our reason. If the biggest bank in the world is going to take a nasty little beating, then obviously SOFI is going to get hit. We have one more stock that has earnings before we get into Technical Tuesday. By the way, shout out to Tess in the chat. It is her birthday today. So shout out to Miss Quan Tess. It is indeed her birthday. And, you know, she's been part of the channel since, I think, early 2022. She's been here for the past 3.5 years. So shout out to Tess. Very, very happy for her being part of this community. And it is indeed her birthday. I don't know if she wants me to say how old she's turning. Sometimes people get a little sensitive about that. But she's older because every year you get a little older on your birthday. So there it is, Tess. Love you. Hopefully you're doing well. And hopefully we'll see you at a meetup soon. But happy birthday to you as well. AVAV, that's down 10%. Well, it was down 10%. Now it's down 5%. Yeah, she's 27. Exactly. She's 27. Just 27. You know, she's younger than me. I'm 28. I'm the one getting older. AVAV's down 5%. I think they missed on earnings. This is a $14 billion company called Aero Environment. Another space name, which, by the way, there's another space update that we'll talk about in a second that has to do with data centers in space. Wow, they missed EPS by 44%. Holy crap. That is ugly. That is ugly. 44 cents versus 79 cents expected. Revenue 472 versus 465. 44% miss on EPS. I don't follow this company that well, but they did have earnings today. And looks like they're down 5% on that. Now, granted, that EPS miss could be for a variety of reasons, so maybe that's not that big of a deal. But the headline number is probably going to get a knee-jerk reaction, and obviously that's gonna get hit. Yeah, Tess is the same age as D-Wave stock. So where's D-Wave? D-Wave was basically flat in the day. 28.30. There you go. She's 28 to 30. That's her range. 28 to 30. is what she is today. For a lot of you guys ended up buying D-Wave because of Tess. I mean, she was really pounding the table on this thing at $1. And so for those that even less than $1, I think she was early to these quantum names, which by the way, they took a hit in November, but a lot of them have started to recover. They're not at all-time highs, but they're not that far away either. So a lot of the quantum names continue to maintain their momentum, even if they're not at those all-time highs. And I think a lot of you in the chat really started getting into the thesis because of someone like Tess, who was talking about it in the chat about a year ago. Rock Lab right there, still moving after hours on this SpaceX news. Palantir is up a little bit, BMNR flat after hours, and then you got the S&P 500 at 683. The bigger earnings were GameStop and AVAV. GameStop down now 5% on the day. AVAV recovering, it was down 7, now it's down 1.5, which is not too bad, even after that EPS miss. All right, folks, that's what we got with earnings. I'm going to play one quick clip, and then we will get into Jason. Data centers in space. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. This is Gavin Baker, who's recently on a new podcast. He has been long NVIDIA Tesla since like 15 years ago. He is one of the, he's like a Brad Gerstner, but he doesn't get as much coverage as Brad Gerstner does because he's just like not as public as him. But here is his take on what the next 3 to 4 years will be focused on. And he thinks that it's going to be data centers in space.
I think the most important thing that's going to happen in the world in the next 3 to 4 years is data centers in space. If you think about it from first principles, data centers should be in space. What are the fundamental inputs to running a data center? They're power and they're cooling. And then there are the chips, the inputs to making the tokens come out of the magic machines. Yeah. So in space, you can keep a satellite in the sun 24 hours a day, and the sun is 30% more intense. And this results in 6 times more irradiance in outer space than on planet Earth. So you're getting a lot of solar energy. Point number 2, because you're in the sun 24 hours a day, you don't need a battery. And this is a giant percentage of the cost. So the lowest cost energy available in our solar system is solar energy in space, okay? Second, for cooling, in one of these racks, a majority of the mass and the weight is cooling. And the cooling in these data centers is incredibly complicated. Crazy, yeah. You know, I mean, the HVAC, the CDUs, the liquid cooling. In space, cooling is free. You just put a radiator on the dark side of the satellite.
It's fucking cold.
And it's as close to absolute zero as you can get. So all that goes away. And that is a vast amount of cost. And then let's think about how each satellite is kind of a rack. Well, how are you going to connect those racks? Well, it's funny. In the data center, the racks are over a certain distance connected with fiber optics. And that just means a laser going through a cable. The only thing faster than a laser going through a fiber optic cable is a laser going through absolute vacuum. So if you can link these satellites in space together using lasers, you actually have a faster and more coherent network than in a data center on Earth, okay? For training, that's gonna take a long time, it's just because it's so big. But for inference, so let's think about the user experience. When I asked Grok about you and it gave the nice answer, here's what happened. A radio wave traveled from my cell phone to a cell tower. Then it hit the base station, went into a fiber optic cable, went to some sort of metro aggregation facility in New York, right within 10 blocks of here. There's a small little metro router that's routed those packets to a big XAI data center somewhere, okay? And then the computation was done and it came back over the same path. If the satellites can communicate directly with the phone, and Starlink has demonstrated direct to cell capability, you just go boom, boom. It's a much better, lower cost user experience. So in every way, data centers in space, from a first principles perspective, are superior to data centers on Earth.
I mean, I haven't really dug super deep into this concept, but we're seeing more and more people talk about it. If it becomes a thing, I mean, maybe that's part of the reason SpaceX wants to go public, because they see this massive opportunity to get data centers in space. They need a lot of money to be able to make that happen. That's why they need to go public. Maybe. So we're going to see how this ends up playing out, but you have a lot more people getting very excited about the idea. And if it does happen, then it would be super, super bullish. And yes, all my Space Mob people, Rocket Lab people, I mean, I don't see a world in which, if we do start building data centers in space, how those two stocks don't benefit from it. Maybe, SpaceX gets the lion's share of a lot of the different opportunities. Blue Origin, Amazon, Google are probably going to have their hands there, but I think ASTS and Rock Lab at their valuations probably also get some benefit from this as well. Arthur, thank you for the super chat. Send this to Tess for me. I will make sure that Tess gets this $20. Thank you for the super chat. And I'll communicate with Tess. We'll get her like an Amazon gift card with that $20. So we'll make sure she gets that money as well. All right, folks, it is Tuesday, which means it is time to go through the technicals on this Tuesday. We had a pretty crazy last few days. We have FOMC coming up. A lot of things can change in an instant. Yeah, Bitcoin and Ethereum finally break out a little bit today. And as a result, it means that it is once again time to roll the intro.
We're back.
What's up?
We made it. We are back. Happy birthday, Tess. Happy birthday.
I can finally show everybody what I've been teasing since the morning.
You've been teasing something since the morning?
I've been teasing something since the morning. This guy said he was going to send me some merch for his Paper Games brand. I was like, cool, no problem. Then I get this at my house. And I'm like, what is this? What does this mean? I turn it around.
Yeah, bro. That's money, dude. I like it.
Dude, this
Merry Christmas. Happy birthday. I love it.
This is
I actually like it, dude.
This
like
is what we need to use AI for. That is you know, played around with a lot of tools. That by far the best that I'd seen. But I think it came out well. We did you better this time for sure. Maybe not exactly. It got the Robin Hood liquor.
Oh yeah. Yeah, dude, that was like actual work getting the thing to look like that.
Yeah, I love this, bro. Got your logo. This is awesome. So
a bromance that moves markets.
This will be hung up in the office. I appreciate it, dude.
Let's go.
This is awesome. This is so great. So there you go.
I love it. Looks good, man.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks really great. I'm excited to hang up a lot of this stuff in the studio.
It was supposed to be on top. Listen, it would look really weird if one was on top.
No. Oh my gosh. All right. We got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. Can we start off? I think everyone wants to start off with Ethereum before we get to the S&P, because we made a nice
Ethereum.
Yeah,
oh, for sure. I mean, I don't think on my Twitter, and I don't think I definitely didn't post this, but there was a recording from our what was it? From one of our Technical Tuesdays. Yeah. It's a video, and we clipped it really quick. I'm trying to scroll as fast as I can.
By the way, I have your playlist. I'm going to send it to you. It's on private right now, so I'm going to send it to you right now, and then you can get access to it as well.
A playlist.
Yeah,
I think I know what you're talking about. Anyways, yeah, so trying to find this video. I can't find the video. Long story short, guys, we're going to 3,500. So congrats. I mean, this was the last one I did. Bear wall breach 3,500. Here we come. So without getting into videos or wasting a ton of time, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna flip to you know what we can do? Let's go ahead and flip to a weekly. I'm gonna turn off all of these things. I'm gonna hit play on the timer, and I'm just gonna make this super clean chart. So super clean chart. By the way, I'm bummed. I'm trying to find these annotation tools. I even reached out to a buddy, Matt, but I can't. I don't have the right tools. This is an oscillator down here. This is setting up. This is a weekly chart on Ethereum, possibly setting up for a weekly squeeze. When we first started watching this, you can't see that yellow down there, but oh well. When we first started watching this, it was like coming into 26 here, 26 and a quarter, and that was outlined pretty explicitly as like the buy zone, and there were certain levels to get through, and as we get through them, what we're going to be looking at is essentially just connecting. Let me see if I even have this right. These highs right in here and the lows. So this is the consolidation. And so off of this level right here, there was a lot of confluence to come off of 26 and a quarter from this low to this high. We actually had like a perfect fib, like retracement. And Ethereum as a whole on this chart, you can look at it and you're like, oh, yeah, well, this is actually just basic regular consolidation. And consolidation meaning we're basically in this box right here. But if we can get out of this flag, if you will, pennant, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. Then we can have like another rally. But from here, literally here to here, what we're talking about is 3,500, just slightly over 3,500. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my actual drawings on really quick. So now that you guys see where a lot of those things have come from. I don't know what happened to my pointer just now, how it started doing these highlighty things. But yeah, so this was that retracement right here, 26 and a quarter. The bear zone from here, so from this low to this high, this was the buy zone. And where the bears were going to step in was about 3166. And the second that level right here got breached, 3166 right in here, then I know, okay, well, the bulls, this is the power shift. Like the bulls are winning here and now. Where does this go? I think it takes us legit to about here, right in this blue line, which is about 3562. And then we kind of have to see. So from this bounce to here, from here to here, I think we're pretty easy trade, easy as in like low risk, high reward. From a percentage perspective, it's actually quite a bit. It's like 35%. But if we can get through that, then and only then are we actually talking about like a full-blown breakout. So I want to kind of taper expectations here now, say this looks really good, but I think we're going to hit our head, honestly, around 30, just under 3,600. And we could come back again and continue this consolidation, which, by the way, before we actually break out, was actually what I was looking for in the entire from day one. And this is that inverse Bart Simpson, whatever, and then finally breaking out to go back over 4K. And if that's the case, then yeah, then we can actually get a little bit of an extension, at least on this one press.
Do you think the move today also had to do with FOMC tomorrow, or why do you think we had a bounce today?
I'm not sure if it had to do with FOMC or I wasn't paying attention to like what's going on in Japan. I think the yen carry trade unwind 2.0 has a lot of influence in there, but I didn't really watch that very closely. I do think, you know, that as we get into FOMC, we can hit our head on a ceiling right now. So we're about to go into real resistance. I think this can actually take us as high as just about 4K if we do really well. I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. I think tomorrow we can actually see just slightly over 3,500. Then be cautious. And I don't think that we should expect this to explode in our faces. Not right away, at least. I think some consolidation and digestion of this pretty big pullback is in order and should be expected. But this is the general trajectory that we outlined a month ago, maybe less, and exactly where we are. And this consolidation, if we do go sideways here after hitting our head just over 3,500, that's actually going to be really healthy. Keep an eye on this 3166. As long as we can hold 3166 from this point forward, the bears are losing, and that's just a fact. So 3166, I believe, roughly, should act as support after we finish this press to the upside. And if we do get those pullbacks, that in that situation, we want to see that act similar to like a meta, which we can look at later. But we want to see that level, which was resistance, turn into support. And that would be the ultimate bullish sign. So I'm dropping in just slightly one more time, and I'm going to rush through this because, again, we're almost out of time. But this is 3166 right here. It's a very key level, and you can see it on the chart. This is like an explosion line. Over 3166, boom, bears have to cover. They're losing. They are underwater. Any bear that's left in here is like, oh, you greedy bear. So a pullback or even like a press forward and pullback and then creating this kind of consolidation is going to be ideal. I think eventually that takes us just over to 38s. High 38s, low 4Ks.
And you think that could happen by end of year?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
This could be 43 by end of year.
Okay. We'll get into all the individual stocks, but yeah, let's do S&P. And I'm kind of curious on your thoughts going into FOMC, how you're playing this one.
Well, I think at the index level, it's almost like a zero-sum game. And when you look under the covers right now, geez, my words, sorry guys. But when you look under the hood, it's overall healthy. So meaning what I'm seeing is I'm still seeing that kind of like broadening within the market. At the index level, it looks very stale, very tired, kind of bored, really. Doesn't look like it's going anywhere just yet. But what I'm not seeing is I'm not seeing a rush to cash. I do see some bonds, stuff like that, but nothing major here. So I think that the market is literally just in a holding pattern. This was, if this was the structure, like the trend count, so high, low, lower high, lower low. If this was going to be a lower high, 685 was my level. We actually breached over 685. And in this case, I'm going to say that lower high is gone because we did break through it, albeit for just a little bit, but it's enough to actually make me say, okay, well, up here, that's something to look for. And now if we do come back, I don't know that we're going to, we can just go sideways and this is perfectly fine. I think the dips are still buyable, ideally around 675, which would be this like that prior non-farm payrolls. But here's the deal. We have FOMC tomorrow. We have non-farm payrolls the Tuesday after that. And then we have the Bank of Japan interest rate decision also, I think, on the 19th. So we're back to back to back into a lot of murky waters, if you will. And if there's one thing that the market doesn't like, that's uncertainty. So because at this moment in time, there's still a handful of hurdles to get through before we can start defining a Santa rally, because I've gotten so many DMs about Santa rally. It's out of control right now. So what I will say definitively, yes, Santa exists. Yes, a Santa rally does exist, but you need to know your statistics about this stuff. Trading is a game of probabilities and statistics. And if you want to know about it, the Santa rally is very explicitly defined as 7 days. And it's from December 26th through January 2nd or 3rd. So in that 7 day time period, you have an average of like 1.3%. Which is nothing, by the way, which is like nothing because, hey, we just moved 5%. But the Santa rally, if you want to look for it, one, you're early or you're late because the run up into it is started over here. And two, it doesn't start until after Christmas. So between now and then, we could see a little chop, and that's exactly what I'm looking at. But this is good. I would like to see a retest, maybe pull back, retest this broken downtrend line, and then be on our merry way. I think that's ideal. The best case scenario kind of dip by to me is going to be around 675 as it stands right now. But again, tomorrow FOMC, it's about how that day is digested and primarily non-farm payrolls on the 12th, I think it is.
I think it's 16th, but it's
16th,
weird because we're getting those numbers after the rate cut.
Yes.
Like, the rate cut could be bullish or maybe it's like hawkish and slightly dovish, but then those numbers,
yep,
those are important numbers for the future of liquidity.
Yeah, the whole future, like and where we are, I think believe I just saw an update on the Fed Watch tool that, might be. So we didn't have, and I haven't looked at this today, so this is my first time looking at this. We did not have anything. So 87.4% is fine, whatever. But we didn't have anything priced in. Yeah, we still don't. Until April.
Well, which means this would be J-Pow's technically his last cut if we don't get that April cut.
Is this his last meeting altogether?
No, he has 4 more meetings. The June meeting, he's not. April will be his last meeting. But if we don't get a cut for the next 3 meetings in 2026, then this will be his last cut tomorrow.
Yeah, and so even this April thing, what is that? That's 38% probability of another 25 basis point cut. It's not really even. I mean, it's between that and what is that? 44%. It's not even fully priced in, 44.1% for April. So this meeting tomorrow is not about whether or not we cut, right? So what's true when you look at this stuff is that at 87, 90% probability of a 25 basis point rate cut, guys, what this means when you look at this stuff, this means that a rate cut is currently priced into the market right this moment. So the rate cut itself is going to do nothing. That is all baked into the prices of the market today and has been since, 80+%. What it does come down to is the rhetoric and the commentary. Dovish cut, hawkish cut, that kind of stuff. We're not getting 50 basis points. I don't know where the hell that came from. I don't know if you saw that. That's some shenanigans, fake news. But it is about commentary.
Yeah, we also get a dot plot tomorrow, so that's going to be.
Yeah, these dot plot FOMCs do tend to be more market moving than not.
Yeah. Okay, NVIDIA, how are you seeing price action on this bad boy?
I'm long. I had to remind myself last night that the aftermarket has nothing for me but lies and deceit. But there was again. And pre-market hold true. But what is true still, and I posted my little clip. Did you like my video? I still think that this ends up getting filled in up to 195. And every time we've made this trek up, even though it's getting hit by bears being sold off pretty much immediately, the lows are actually becoming higher and higher and higher. So
by the way, who's long? You know who's long NVIDIA now? Our boy.
You're already long. I mean,
no.
Who wasn't long? I don't know.
Chris Patel. He's long NVIDIA now.
Chris Patel is
long NVIDIA now.
I don't know what that means, but
that means he's bullish. He's not bearish anymore on NVIDIA.
I didn't know he was bearish, but
he wasn't bearish. He just wasn't the most excited. But now he's officially in. He put some money into the name. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So this is higher. This is nothing but a series of higher lows. So this is constructive. Technically speaking, I mean, you could call this whatever you want to call this, like a rising wedge, whatever. Usually the first press, quite frankly, is not always the one to go long anyways. What we want to see is some trajectory up here. But look, this, even if I pull this back, is fairly constructive. So making this trek inside of like this, however it gets here, back to that is 200s, I think is very much in the cards. I would caution that it's probably a slower grind than not until these bears get off our backs. But this is roughly that first level of resistance. Had it gone any higher, all the bears would have been in a lot of trouble. But this is setting up, like Chris said, he said coiled viper. This is setting up into a squeeze. And I think that's an accurate statement, right? Because there have been a lot of shorts up here, maybe down here. Hopefully, a lot of the crew got this little nibble here in the 170s, high 160s. But we'll see. Right here, right now, we're actually today, the low of today. Let me just take this off. And if you just look at this one candle, this yellow line, this orange line. That's a big deal. So that was this resistance area all over here. support here, resistance again. So this is the what we call the SR flip, where resistance can turn to support. And today's pullback and hold above 184, that's bullish. So we can still see some what we call inside days or congestion while we let the bears get back on the right side of the train here and they actually go long. That's, by the way, that's what's happening in Ethereum. The bears they had a chance to cover their shorts and go long. And that's, I think, what we're seeing, in the process of seeing on NVIDIA. And we start to see some kind of candles like this. So maybe not one day, but the slow grind, something similar to this kind of scenario over here. And ultimately fill in this other, I would say, like the inefficiency in the market. The question about this is, when I first saw this, when we did it last week, my comments were actually that it would be headline driven, because as it is, it's got a lot of resistance and it needed that catalyst to get going. I mean, I think that's such a big deal. And you had said after my comment there, was that it's going to depend on the catalyst. Like, how strong is this catalyst? Because yes, I see this quick push that could take you to 95. My gut on a look like this would say that it doesn't immediately go through or hold per se, but it's very much going to come down to the level of catalyst and how big of a deal this is. And I think part of what we're seeing in the chart right now is like, yeah, okay, H200s are being able to be, they're now able to be sold, but we have to find out if China's going to buy them. And so that might be what we're talking about. How strong is this catalyst?
Okay. Hoodie.
Look at this. We're right back. We're right back, dude. Like, holy camole.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah. I mean, what an amazing stock. I didn't see Vladdy's AMA, but I guess apparently he had one. Yeah. I saw Roy asked him one. I mean, so like, if you got really in the weeds and I just like tag these two little wicks, this could take you to mid 140s is legit what I'm thinking here anyways. Without doing that, there's a session 145. I'm just saying, I think we get there. And as long as this holds every day, it looks really good. And sometimes we get a little pullback. It's like these pullbacks are getting shallower and shallower and shallower right now. And the dip is getting bought like quickly every morning. Maybe not pressing like all the way through, but it's holding. And again, series of higher lows here. We're still at risk, still have to be cautious, but the longer that we can hold this, especially through FOMC and non-farm payrolls, and as the tides kind of shift in the market, anything over 135 is really good. And the longer that we can hold over 135, the better. So while, I mean, I would love to see a breakthrough right away. I think that this white line here on the bottom, that's the prevailing downtrend for me, or sorry, uptrend that we were kind of tracking. We're back over it, but we're right back into that consolidation area. So even these little pullbacks, I think a few more days of sideways action, then we can get that. Then I want to see another higher low, and then we're back to old hoodie. And I'm still looking like near 200s. You know what? I don't even know why I have that, because like if hoodie gets over 175, we know what's happening to the stock, right?
Yeah, 100%.
The chat knows what's happening to the stock. If hoodie gets over 175, it's game over. I mean, then we're in the 230s. But
I just think we can't get to that level unless the market is really on our side. Like we're talking about S&P 73, 7,400.
No, I agree. Yeah, so that's the thing. So what I'm saying here is like, look, we've made a big trek. I think we can go sideways for probably a few more weeks, and then let's see how this goes. Because over 145, you know where the market is going to be going to all-time highs, and that's going to be over 685 anyways. And as long as we're holding 685 on SPY, which we're not right this second, we're 683. I mean, we're really close. But if we start trending over 685, there is no question in my mind that we're seeing 700 on SPY by end of year. Zero question, period, end of story. That's just what's happening. And from here moving forward, the only question in my mind, because it's kind of like a foregone conclusion anyways, is where's the next dip buy? And maybe that comes in the next couple of weeks.
No, that is fair.
I'm not trying to be uber bullish, but just that's what the chart would tend to say.
Well, here's the thing: if the last time we saw 100 was S&P 650 in like the end of November, I mean, maybe if S&P even stabilizes here, we don't see 100 again, which.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like at this point, like 128, I'm like, all my stupid low buys are just kind of like wasted cash right now because that's not happening.
Yeah.
Like, that's lame. So I'll take those down. I bought some stuff today. I mean, there's still some good deals out there. I really like RKLB right now. That thing looks great. I feel like I should have bought a lot more on that 38 dipper. And some good catalysts coming. But again, non-farm payrolls, FOMC, BOJ rate decision, which by the way, BOJ is raising the rates. It's kind of a foregone conclusion also. And the end of QT, right? All of that, it's how does the market digest this? So I'm not in a massive rush right now. If something's in, on sale, cool. But it might be that we get those Christmas Day doorbusters. Who knows?
Can we do Netflix? And I'm just curious your thoughts on what's been going on and if the TA is exciting at all for you.
TA is not exciting. I sold my Netflix stock personal decision. It could have gone higher. The only reason why I did it is not a big deal. I don't see a massive pullback on Netflix. Here's what I see in the charts and what both the technicals and fundamentals are telling me on Netflix. And that is that it was in a decent spot. It could have done some good if it had held that 120 level, like 120 and change. But the second it lost that like what was right here, 116, it broke down, popped back up. And this is before all of the shenanigans that we're talking about with WBD. But over here, like that moment in time, that was a breakdown. And from a trend perspective, it's not good. What I will say that this chart, I think, is in reality showing is that, again, the market hates uncertainty. And in a time like right now for Netflix, what we're looking at in the chart is just exactly that. It's just uncertainty. Can it bounce around? Is it going to be a falling knife? No, I don't think it's going to be a falling knife. I think it can bounce around. I don't think you have to run out and sell this thing, but I do think that that the question of how is Netflix going to grow as a company is on the table. And now that they're looking to acquire, I think it just becomes obvious that, maybe internally they might be a little saturated. And so as an investor, this is not a trading thing, but as an investor, what I hear and what I see as a trader in the charts is that you have a decision to make as the investor. Netflix is going to go into a investment period as a company. They're going into an investment period. They need to, $400-something billion company, they need to look at ways to become $1 trillion company. How are they going to do that? And if the decision that they make is to deploy capital via acquisition, fine. Either way, as an investor, you have to look at this and say, I now have a decision to make. Do I take this journey with Netflix during an investment phase of, this is just a new chapter of growth, right? Netflix is in an investment phase because they have to figure out how as a company are we going to get to that 750 billion mark? How are we going to get to that $1 trillion mark? And And that answer isn't clearly defined yet. Even if they get WBD, does that get them to the next hurdle? I don't know. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing on the charts is a little bit of trepidation. I do think that you can pull back. You could probably pull back into like the mid 70s at a certain point, probably way down in the future. Does that happen today? No, I don't think so. And for right now, you know, it is in a pullback mode. You're probably going to see those mid 80s, which is what I initially had. And until this can get back over 100 comfortably, then the trend is down. And so that's what it is on Netflix. It's not a horrible thing. If you're a long-term investor, there's opportunities here, but your time horizon to me has to be appropriate, meaning that if you're going to be buying Netflix anytime in the next 3 to 6 months, you probably really need to have a 3 to 5 year time horizon. If you don't have a 3 to 5 year time horizon on Netflix purchasing here, you're just looking for some quick intraday moves. But the story has to unfold as how does Netflix get to the next phase of growth in their chapter as a company. So the question becomes, you know, do you want to take that journey? Amazon goes through every large company goes through these investment phases. It's just part of this market. It's just how it works. And stocks go sideways to down for long periods of time. And eventually they get out of it. Like Amazon, I mean, is Google, right? I mean, this is over here. This is like 90s. This Amazon. This is a massive investment phase. Oops, wrong tool. But by the way, like this whole thing from here to here, dude, that's 2 years of nowhere, right? Going really nowhere on Amazon. And then finally the fruits of their labor show up. And then you go into another investment phase, right? How are we going to continue to grow? Another 2 years of sideways action, more or less.
I agree with you. And the other reason I'm not that excited for Netflix right now is that they still trade at a 45 PE. Like they're still, you know, the street's been happy giving them the premium, but they're basically implicitly admitting over this process that they can't grow. I mean, for them to be this aggressive means that growth is stalling. And so if they don't get this deal done, I don't know if it's the most bullish. But if they do get the deal done, they have to pay a lot of money, which also might not be the most bullish in the short term.
Right. And then after they pay a lot of money, they have to spend a lot of time and effort making it all work. And then after all of that's said and done, then maybe the fruits of their labor starts to show up. But is that even enough? And so again, this just comes down to you as an investor making a very simple decision. Do I take this journey with Netflix while they go through their personal investment phase? Every company has these. It's just a normal thing, right? And it's just a question of do you stay with it? Because it will probably pay in the long run, but your time horizon has to be appropriate.
Agreed. Tesla.
I actually still think she's kind of stuck, but she's stuck much better. So 415 is held well. This uptrend from here has held every time. Some of these charts, I swear, we are at 451, which is kind of like the top of this box, and we're getting ready to print the almighty head and shoulders of the bears laughable patterns. Sorry, I laugh at these patterns, but that's what's happening on this chart. So right now you're printing what we call like a head and shoulders setup. But in reality, to me, what this is just very basic consolidation. It's actually extremely strong consolidation. If somehow Tesla gets over 460 though, I'm going to have to change my tune real quick on this bad boy, because while you can see like a little bit of a head and shoulders here, at 460, you're like this. And if that happens, okay, Tesla's not going to stop, and she's probably not going to wait for me, and she's just going to explode, and she's going to make that trek to 600s sooner than I thought. I hope it doesn't happen right away because I'm not positioned for it. But if it happens, it'll happen, and it's going to be over this, like when you basically tag this October 2nd high and November 3rd high, and you get this basically this consolidation area in here, right? This is your consolidation. So here now, even dips as low as 408, did these become viable even stronger? That I think would set up for even better like catalyst to get out of here. But right now, this is not where I want to press a long bet. This is the definition of going long into resistance, and the bears are strong here. Actually, this is today and maybe tomorrow. Even if it gets to like 455, there's a little bit of an imbalance in this what we call like a session gap. It's not a big one, really teeny tiny. So I think this could go higher, 454 right here. But I'm not ready to say, hey, this is just gonna explode. Although it's in consolidation and it's been here at 450 for a while, and I think as it makes its trek through this area, I mean, it's not looking bad right now. It's looking a lot stronger than I thought it was going to look. That's for sure.
So, I mean, 500 by end of year is not seeming that likely for you. Like that would require S&P 7,000 probably. Or higher. No,
Tesla actually doesn't trade with anything. I mean, it used to track the Qs along many, many years ago, but it really doesn't anymore. It just does its own thing. Tesla trades almost like the opposite intraday as a lot of other companies, but it's going to be very much if this then that. I think it's viable on heavy pullbacks, big nasty red days, as close to 415 as you can. I know that feels like a long ways away, but that was and remains to be the buy level. And yeah, you should. The last entry I had was over here, 390s, and for me, all I'm looking at here is like, all right, I've come a lot further than I thought I would, and that's all good. But I don't want to add just yet, not until I'm over this hump, right? And so if I can see this from Tesla, boom, right here, right, that's about 465s, then I'm gonna turn into a degen, and I'll probably do some like 60-day calls or something like that. Because when she goes, she just goes, and she turns into a little mini freight train, and that's how Tesla operates. That's how she's always operated. But she hasn't really started to break out yet. Extremely constructive, very much in consolidation. To me, this is exactly that. You want to be a little bit more cautious here. Strong dips, large dips remain viable, in my opinion here.
Okay. Meta, they have the big update around the metaverse potentially scaling back. Any thoughts on how this one has been going?
I haven't even started, but 500 to your question is possible. It's an if this, then that. If over 465, then yes. So 686. So the upside, this is our meta chart. It's perfect. It's beautiful. I think we should bask in its glory. but I'm not going to change anything. So that 686 is a 50% retracement from that swing high to this swing low. And that's where the bears were hanging out. It got just barely there. And so where are we in the chart of meta, I think, is the question. So 689, 670, give or take, is the trading range from 633 up to there. And I mean, that's quick, super quick. If you can't get through 689, then we just basically have a pullback. Over 689, it's another boom, $30 shot, like near instantly. a very quick $30 shot. When you let's round it up to 690. If you see Meta trading over 690, it's heading to 720s, which at that point is very nearing your ultimate target anyways. I think this is another one, a big move. You should be patient as the market kind of adjusts this. I don't know what the, oh my goodness, look at that. I don't know what the headline was. I did not do this on purpose, but 633 was 633.90 right here. That is from here to here and how we got our 590 entry and then the 634 pullback or hold. If I took from this point to this point, I mean, that's scary precise that it lands me one more time at 633 for a pullback on Meta to do that same trajectory. So again, I think if you bought it down here, congrats. If you bought it here, I think you're good. But I think it's going to digest this move a little bit. Does it get all the way back to 630s? TBD. 645s, I would get more interested. There's a little, I'll just do it here. Let me drop down to a smaller time frame. So here's your breakout right here where the news hit that he's not going to be spending as much. 645. So if you get to 645, that headline gets pulled back here. And I think this leaves you with this general box here to look for another ad, I would say, or at least price to kind of catch up and sentiment to kind of catch up. At that point in time, another thing to note is that the 20-day simple is this white line here. That 20-day simple moving average is going to be right about here. Your 50 is going to be here. You're about to get that death cross. Oh man, I said that if we got a death cross on Meta, I did say that, dude.
You did say that.
When I say these things, and then I'm like, I'm in the moment. So here's the red 200-day simple. Here's the 50-day simple. That's the blue one. If Meta does get that pullback into 645, that's going to be your quote unquote death cross, at which point I probably should buy it because the death cross has been a buy signal on Meta for many years. And I think I will do that. So you want me to text you?
Yes.
He goes, yes. All right. Here's what I'm going to set an alert right now, guys, at 645. Just as a early warning sign. All right.
VG just closed $3 billion of senior secured notes. I don't think that's new notes, guys. I think that's old news that it's now closed today, but VG's up a little bit after hours, so good for VG. SOFI. What do you think about SOFI here? I actually bought some SOFI today. Was it a good buy or was it stupid? What do you think? I bought at 26.80.
I bought NVIDIA, SMCI, and SOFI. And Blackstone.
Oh, you bought some SOFI.
Yeah.
I bought NVIDIA last week, so I got you.
I bought a really weird stock too that I just don't ever follow, that I don't know. Okay, so SOFI, it was a super nibble, 100 shares. So I don't know if that counts.
Bro, I bought more than 100 shares. But
yeah, it's just 100. I don't even know if that counts. But I don't have a lot of SOFI. So I think, you know what I think? It's dilution, right? But coming into the scenario that we're coming into, I do think that this chart can still come back into those 25s. So maybe we get another dip buy. But I like, it's not dilution to me. And this is all of a sudden me shifting from a trader to maybe more of a business investing perspective. And that perspective is that the more capital that they raise, the more cash that they have on their balance sheets, the more loans they're going to be able to give out moving forward.
More loans they can originate. That is correct.
And so because of that and that alone, I like that storyline. And if that's them posturing as a business to prepare themselves for the future. And if rates are coming down, if the velocity of rates are coming down faster than even the CBOE did, like the Fed Watch tool has, I'm going to want SoFi to be able to put a lot more loans in the book than they can today, which means that they actually need to have more cash on the balance sheet anyways. So I'm not, it sucks, but I'm not the biggest SoFi bull. I don't know if you guys, it's not a secret, but I don't have a lot of exposure, and I don't think it's a bad thing in this instance, this dilution right now. So I'm not opposed to it. I think it can pull back a little bit more. Just over 25 in this box right here is where you'd want to see SoFi actually kind of bounce, continue to bounce. If not, I can buy a lot deeper later, but for all intents and purposes, this is, with everything else, it's in a bit of a holding pattern. You do have what we call like a double top and a lower high here with a lower low. So that's the one concern. From a trend count, it's not that clean. So from a trend count, you have this little double top, you have a lower high, and you do have a little bit of a lower low. So it does make me think, hey, we could go down lower, but SoFi being SoFi, and all the catalysts on deck right now, I think a chart like this could instantly change and flip on a dime in very short order. Because again, these SMAs are pretty tight, meaning that it looks like we could get another big whoosh down, maybe even like a 10% down day on SoFi. That's like $2.60 down, which would put it exactly where I'm talking about this being. So, which ends up being a buy. So I do see that in the charts. And again, this is going to be, SoFi is where the index was a long while ago. So it's, in this case, actually lagging. So I could see this kind of scenario happening very easily. What I don't want to see is, I don't want to see that. And if that happens, cool. Well, that's in the 20s. At which point it's a better buy.
Okay. Rocket Lab.
The lava rockets, dude. So I'm like, this thing needs to cool its jets for a minute. And then it's like, no, I'm not slowing down. And I'm like, wow, dude. All right. So, this looks good. It's right there. Remember, these reversals, they always start by reclaiming this 20-day simple. And sometimes when you get to the 50-day, you hit your head pretty hard. And then we want to see that 20 act as support. So this becomes a more of a like interesting around 48s. But the news today is just clearly exciting. This and both ASTS, I think 3 weeks ago, we're like, all right, we're ready to roll. Yeah, I mean, they had both come down quite a bit. I can't believe the Rocket Lab buys were almost better than the Hood buys. Is that wild? But that was,
give people a shot around that $40 range and just below 40.
Yeah, because I'm up almost 40% on equity on this last buy, and I'm like, holy moly. So it's exciting. Like this chart's going to look real good, even if it pulls back a little bit. Like I was saying earlier, even if it pulls back and does some kind of consolidation, this chart is going to look really good if it can hold that. I mean, like dangerously good, where I'm thinking about adding. So over 55 3/4, we have another shot to 60s. Over 60 is just up and to the right. Well, it's 65 to be fair, and then you're gone. You have this last little imbalance. So 65 here. And if this whole thing becomes consolidation, am I going to say this out loud? I don't want to say this on this. Too many people watch the show. It's a triple digit stock. And there's your 10 bagger. If that happens. So there you have it. I'm glad he missed it, guys.
Well, the SpaceX news, though, I think is the big thing today that popped it as well. Do you actually believe they're trying to go public next year? I don't really believe it, dude.
SpaceX?
Yeah, the news, Bloomberg's like 1.5 trillion in 2026.
Oh, I think that
really don't.
I think that Elon's smart and that Vlad is on a mission. And I think that Elon knows that if he doesn't, then Vlad's going to force him.
But that's you're talking about a bull market. That would be the largest IPO we've seen in history. I think that happens in 2028.
Well, I mean,
early.
Inflation, they're always just going to get bigger. But yeah, I mean, this stock is just defying gravity, dude.
Dude, if SpaceX does go public at 1.5 trillion, you know Rocket Lab's going to be a sympathy play. Like that alone is going.
It's a triple-digit stock then, and I should have bought more, and I might even be able to double again here.
Matt says, if that happens, you can communicate with me via carrier pigeon.
Save me a little hut on the beach. That's all I ask. If that happens, it's super speculative to get there. So again, trading is one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. And right now we got to get through 56s. Then we're boom, straight into mid 60s. And depending on what the storyline is at that point, yeah, it's possible. Look, it's up 40% from the lows just a few days ago. I wasn't even weeks ago. I mean, maybe a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Is it going up right now?
After hours.
No.
Yeah, not really.
Okay. But I mean, from 36, that's a hell of a dip. 43%. I mean, amazing. You can't complain about that. I'm not complaining about that. So again, I will keep my eyes around 47s, 48s. And this becomes more and more interesting as the story plays out.
Amazon. What do you think about this one?
Well, I like it. Did you get my text? No.
About
Anyways.
Amazon?
So in the 225 areas, so we go here, pull back. This general area is exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, I didn't do the normal text. I should. You know what? You made it really hard, dude, to do the normal text.
I bought Amazon last week and the week before that. So I don't know if I bought it exactly at your level, but.
Well, I don't know. I got this really weird alert on Amazon right here, and the alert says text emit is what that alert said. But anyways, yeah, this area right here is like exactly the spot. So this is where I want to see it hold and consolidate if it wants to. I mean, less consolidation, the better. But the dip this morning, was like immediately bought. I mean, immediately bought. So 224 right here is fine. I don't really know that we get there. I feel like this is ready to roll. And so any higher, you're reclaiming the 50 again, you're back to the 20s, and we should take another shot at that 237s and ultimately higher, ideally, for longer. Where this would get, I mean, again, depending on your time horizon, like below 223, this gets shaky. It's very shaky, and you're probably going lower than this most recent dip. But I don't see that in the charts right now. Right now, what I see is as a solid bounce exactly where it should have bounced. And then from here, I'm seeing a perfectly technical pullback right into what we would consider like a bullish support zone right here. And we should slowly, I mean, we always want it to be fast, but we should be seeing this kind of rounding general action on Amazon as it creates a new base, lets people cover that were short, get long that wanted to get long, and then we're off into the races. Again, assuming Bezos doesn't show up with more shares to sell or some other headline that can kind of throw off these charts. But this is exactly where it's supposed to stop, and it has stopped. And now we want to look for the next move, essentially.
Okay. Palantir.
Dude, she wants it so bad.
It's pretty incredible, the recovery.
Yeah, also another very good dip buy.
Yeah.
I mean, these dips, sometimes I'm just like, why didn't I go like stupid? But you never know really, like in retrospect, like how quickly things are going to recover. But this has been a V-shaped recovery. This really has been a V-shaped recovery. So we are here now at the scene of the crime, or one of the scenes of the crime, on Palantir. Shout out TrendSpider. TrendSpider did one too. Just the other day, it was like a Palantir.
The head and shoulders, right?
Yeah. But at that point, it was like, just so you know, this actually means up for Palantir. Shout out TrendSpider for the low key long. And then when we get there, don't forget the most bullish setups are the failed bearish patterns. But Palantir, TrendSpider, I'm just gonna use their chart because they're very clean work. Right in that 190 area right here, where the bears could see a right shoulder, so left shoulder, head, right shoulder, where it could show up. Does it mean it has to? No. And that's going to be right in this area. But right around here is where they're starting to show up. And in this chart, see this area right here? That was prior resistance where it really just kind of like had a really hard time battling. That's all. We're right here, right? You're finally green on you're green on every purchase that you've ever made on Palantir. Again, I'm pretty sure. Or close to it. But we're not quite able to get through it. So as this continues to try and push through, the next spot is that 190s. And so this being the mountain range, we have this one little blip to get through here around 185 and then 190. So at that point, you're going to fill this imbalance. And I think if she holds for a while in the 190s, then the bears might get pretty impatient at that point, and it might just continue to go higher. So that's what I'm seeing. Otherwise, in this spot, you actually want to be more cautious than aggressive. I have some small, like little lotto-y short-term calls left on, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a pullback. And if we do, what I would like to see hold is this general area again, right around 173s, 170s. But for right now, we're going to bang our head against that 183. 1, 2, 3. Give it a couple shots, and then we can get to 190. So a little bit more consolidation right here, right now.
Google.
Dude. Also,
this one actually sold off yesterday for Gemini AI advertising. I thought it was the dumbest headline for it to sell.
I mean, is that why it sold off, or did it sell off because H200s were being able to be sold? I don't know.
No,
or maybe a little bit of both.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you got to 311. You're not here yet. This one and Apple are both starting to weaken, both of these guys. So I think the trajectory is this way. It's just such a slow grind. Again, my sentiment on this stays like that. The best way to trade this is like selling upside premium. Although, Google being Google, it's like a headline just comes and smacks you through. But, the funny thing about this chart is that this chart should have been taken down to 300. I mean, multiple times already. And this 314 open below is today is a day where Google should have continued to go down out of the gate, quite frankly. And when it hit 314 intraday, I would have thought that this would have just continued on its merry way, honestly. And I was positioned for that. But what happens here also is that when you don't continue down, so this is yesterday's low right there, intraday. This is what we call like a pre-market low. The second that it went back up over 314, well, what we call this is we just call it an inside day, and it's inside of yesterday's range. That's all that means. So it's a consolidation day. It's not a decision day on Google. So the consolidation is right here. It stopped almost to the penny at like a bearish retracement. So I still don't think this is out of the weeds, but it's a slow grind. It's holding its own. If it can't get back down below 314, honestly, I just don't think it's going to. And it's probably going to continue to go higher, because if the bears can't push it back below 314 like quickly, if they're going to have any shot, it's got to go higher so they can get more sellers. Otherwise, it's just a bullish chart. And that's where Google lies. So tomorrow, 314 on Google. If you see it get there and bounce and hold like a close above through FOMC, through all of that, I venture to say that's pretty bullish. But again, we have to wait and see for tomorrow. If it's below 314, look, it's probably going to make that slow trek to fill that $300 gap, which may or may not get filled, because every time this thing starts to show a little weakness, somebody steps in and buys more. So W for Google.
Yeah, I also think some of the sell-off could have just been people taking end-of-year profits on it, right? Like, that's a better explanation.
Yeah, so we'll see a lot of that stuff. And I think to that point, a lot of the market is going to be like that. And so while we go in a sideways chop, while we go sideways at the index level, I think that your comments, the sentiment behind the comment that you just made is true across the market. And the sentiment is, in other words, who's on sale right now? And is Google on sale right here, right now versus somebody else? Is Apple on sale right here, right now versus somebody else? And that's the only thing I'm looking at. So Apple, it's not on sale. It's not. But is Amazon on sale? It is. Is Microsoft on sale? Kind of is. Maybe Meta's on sale. Meta's on a bigger sale at $635. But, it's not that they're bad. They're not. They've come a long ways. And this is just part of that digestion process. Look, stocks go three directions, not two. And in both Apple's case and Google's case, this is the most common direction, and that's to the side. This is 42 days of sideways price action, gone nowhere. After a big earnings move, we're exactly the same spot 45 days later on Apple, even with the mass exodus. I'm on the Apple chart now. If you want to update that, even with the mass exodus going on, or fake news of mass exodus, I guess. Did you see that? Like, there was the product guys not leaving after there were headlines that he was.
There's rumor that they're leaving, then they're actually staying.
Then they're saying, yeah, which and also long term, I mean, this has been for Apple, this has been the crux of the issue for so many people. Why they can't just get like mega long apples specifically is because, like, what's the growth story other than the buybacks, which is not a bad growth story in and of itself from a stock perspective, but from a company perspective, yeah, I get it. And if there's going to be a change of guard, okay, that might be bullish for the company long term, but in the near term, it's not so dissimilar to a Netflix where we're just turning the chapter, we're just turning the page in the life cycle of Apple, the company. It becomes potentially an investment period, but mostly a transition period of changing of the guard, right? And so throughout that period, there's going to be some ebbs and flows and some chop up and down in both directions. I think, again, specifically Apple, it's probably going to work out for the best if you have the right time horizon. But if you're looking for it to go to 300 by the end of the year, you might be sorely mistaken on Apple. It's not out of the question, but it's they have to have some kind of catalyst. But yeah, it's just going sideways right now. I don't know if you like Apple 267s, but this one, until the story really changes, so there's a better piece. I think you kind of just stay the course. But this, unless it breaks this current channel, which it hasn't yet, it's on the bottom. So this is the uptrend for Apple since the lows. The bottom of this general channel has been purchased. It's literally on it one more time. So just slightly below the 20-day. I think this could come down. This is about 270s. If it holds, it's probably going to bounce back up. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see Apple lose 270 in strength. Then it does have a bigger pullback in store for it.
CoreWeave, what are you thinking on some of the Neo clouds that got a pump today?
Is that the word, Neo Cloud? What does Neo Cloud stand for?
New cloud, I think.
What's new about it?
Well, AI.
What?
It's not a Google, Amazon, Microsoft cloud. It's a new cloud for AI.
You mean a data center?
I mean a Neo cloud.
Okay.
I don't know, bro. That's what everyone calls them. So that's what they.
Yeah. So here's our chart on CoreWeave. This is wild, right? Say, all right, here we are. The lows are in. The lows are in. The lows are in. The lows are still in. Nothing but lower highs or higher lows. Sorry. And you're in a new channel. So this was the last lower high. Good news. Higher high. That's good. So the question becomes, where does this go? So you really just kind of take this measurement from here to here and say, all right, well, let's get us to 95s. And so 95s, which is right here, becomes kind of your bear zone. So just under, it's like 94s. Well, this is real close. So again, FOMC tomorrow, midday. So early trade tomorrow across the board, everything's going to stay the same. It's not until like midday. Do you guys know how to trade FOMC? Do you trade FOMC at all or no?
I mean, I don't really trade in general, so no, not really.
Yes, you do.
But I do know that 3:30 to 4 is when the move happens.
Yes. So there's multiple phases of this. And I think it's important to understand, oh, look at this, is that let's see if I can pull this over. If you don't know how FOMC works, there's a press release, there's a fake move, and then there's during the conference, you just got to kind of sit on your hands for a while until he's really done. But see if I can look at this. Here. So if you're not familiar, so I'm an option trader. So this is for our option traders. It's super expensive that day. Apologies for all the crazy emojis. This is Discord. This is what Discord looks like. But the speech notes are released 30 minutes before the actual conference. That's going to create a fake move. A move. It's going to be fake. Don't listen to it. If you want to fade it, but it's not the real move. Then the conference starts, gets super choppy. You don't want to be actively trading this unless you're like minute long, 30-second long scalper. And then at some point, usually halfway through the Q&A or at the end, then you see the actual move after option volatility and stuff is burnt off. But that move usually carries on. And to your point, that is after Q&A is over. And it's about how the market digests that move. But if you're watching the charts before the speech happens, about 30 minutes before the actual speech, you're going to see a really weird like jolt in the market. Don't pay attention to that. It always happens. It's fake. Just leave it be. So sometimes it's a big one. That's the meeting notes that get released. But CoreWeave, I think, can get to 95. If it could get through that, then all right, we're at 100. But this is actually a big resistance level, 94.07. And if it can get through that, essentially what that would look like is this: expect some consolidation and it to battle this $100 level one more time. And you would want to see this general area here that was support in the past show up as support one more time in the future, which means that this does need to get up and over like this, probably hit its head on 100. And you could see a lot of back and filling like that while this 94 level becomes support. That's going to be the best case scenario for CoreWeave.
Okay.
See, I got FOMC commentary and CoreWeave within my 5 minutes.
All right, Nebius, because we can't do CoreWeave without Nebius. And then we got to do IREN after Nebius because
IREN looks better than Nebius. CoreWeave looks better than Nebius. I think that for today, dude, this heater. I haven't texted you yet, so just like, can we just breathe? So Nebius has kind of front run the rest of them in terms of that little bounce. And so Nebius already made it to where I was just pointing out on CoreWeave, and this pullback is actually constructive. So here, I think that 20-day simple is around 93. You want to see that act as general, like not push way below that. You don't want to see that. What you can see is like this whipsaw around it and then start to pull up. So I think Nebius, well, it's not able to get through the 104-ish range, clearly needs to come back a little bit. So it's in the process of pulling back slowly, but it's getting bought up as it pulls back and having a net new investor base kind of come in. So as this builds new support, I think this is going to end up probably being, oh yeah, I already had it right here around that 90 level. I wouldn't be so like explicit on the 20-day acting as support. I almost said that, but I think it can push down slower or lower than the 20, and that's fine. But in this general area, 90 to 87 is your dip buy on Nebius, or at least where we want to see it hold. It can pull back to there and still be, that's actually perfectly bullish. That would set up for another bounce on Nebius. I'm just seeing something right now. Let me pull a sniper level. It's 94.62. So if this structure is to hold, it's $94.62 coming from this order block right here. You can see it here, and we can see it right in here. So notification message. Okay. Text omit. Cool. $94.62. Just like that. I mean, I like that spot. It's a spot to watch. When it gets there, what you're watching for is you're watching for the buyers to start showing up like that.
Yeah, this one goes from like 90 to 100 almost every day. I mean, there really is like a $7 to $8 range on this thing. So yeah. I don't get too excited when it gets to 100, and I don't get too annoyed when it, gets into the low.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. I think that this overall is going to be healthy. Little pullbacks. This is normal. Actually, this is pretty normal price action.
Okay, IREN, last of the neoclouds.
I think we said this the other day, like over 46. Oh no, this was on my Monday stream, not your stream. So IREN on your last stream, not so bullish, but got to keep an open mind. If it can't break down below 42, well, it can't. If it can't go lower, it has to go higher, and it's gonna go higher over that 40. Over 46 is a general level of right here. So I think that that becomes kind of just like a, what we call like a price of interest. It's really, really trying. It's 46.70. So as long as this is also making kind of like those higher lows and that upward, let's call it like, for lack of a better term, I don't like this term, but ascending, whatever, triangle, this can continue to kind of hit its head and back and fill and have this general area here become support. And if that's the case, then once this goes, it should see 50 fairly quickly and possibly a pullback to hold and then get into that. This is about 55. Net on NBIS, you have a pretty, you have a pretty big bounce available. If it does even want to be like a bearish bounce, a bearish retracement is $60 on NBIS. So if this does this, yeah, you're looking at 60s. And let me just see if that's 45s, high 45s, low 46s. Becomes kind of like where you want to see that support. Sorry, 44s, where you want to see that support continue to show up. It's very choppy intraday, so it's hard to trade unless you're an equity trader. If you're an equity trader, you could probably trade this beautifully. But yeah, I think this is another one that's coiling. If it can do this, great. It's in a downtrend, and it's for all intents and purposes, it's in a downtrend. But it stopped. But the thing that's making me, not want to be bearish on this, which is just so you know, I'm not bearish on this, is your favorite pattern right here.
Of course.
No, but it's it's a double bottom. But he goes, not the top. But if it's just that same mentality. If it can't go lower, it has an easier trajectory to go higher first.
Also, a lot of the bad news is priced in, the dilution stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, again, I'm not a fan of it, but from a trading perspective, I can see this actually making a pretty significant rally into 60s. In short order. It's very possible. Is it ready? Not quite for me, but it sure as hell is trying. Like, I cannot deny that this is trying. And if the lows are in, then the lows are in, and it doesn't really matter. And this can get another bid. So I don't hate it, like, at all. And it's really trying to start to reclaim this. So it stopped going down for now. If it's going down again if it's below 42, but that's like 10% away.
Okay. So let's get through some of the earnings we have this week, because these are big ones, and I'm curious about your thoughts. I guess I'll start with Oracle. I feel like this is going to be a big one tomorrow for the overall AI trade, but I don't know if they can pull off a 35% move like they did last time, given the debt that they've issued.
I'm sure they can, right?
Really? You think they can move 35% in a day? I feel like that's never happening again for Oracle. Like, that shit didn't even make sense when it happened back in September.
Yeah, for sure. That's 145. Because I was thinking outside and you were thinking
that would not be bull. It's so bad.
It's easily 145. Hello.
But 45. That would be bad.
I kid. So last week we were on this and we talked about, earnings coming, and we talked about a pre-earnings run up into, I'm pretty sure exactly this spot, 225s. I don't know if that was on your show or my show. If you don't know, I do a Monday. If I do a Monday show also, we do some of these tickers too. But
yeah, I'm linking Jason's YouTube as well in the chat for those that don't follow him.
Oh yeah, thanks. That show we go pretty. We do a lot of stuff. It's a lot of the whole market, Catalyst Watch, the whole nine. Evan's on from Stock Market News sometimes. One day I'll get another cool guest. Is maybe Amit would show up because it's at the lunch hour. I don't know. Maybe he's never graced us with his presence though. Although I've never asked either. So
you never invited me.
Yeah, you're not invited.
Dude, imagine you invite me and I take over and I'm like, all right, Jason, next ticker. I just completely.
Did we just go into TT 2.0 MT, but Technical Monday, TM? I don't know what you call it. I don't know. Anyways, we'll have another show for that. But yeah, so this is the pre-earnings rally. I think this is actually a pretty good bounce. It's unlikely, to your point, that they do have another 35% move. This is 20% from the lows, by the way. I mean, I can't. Is your portfolio up 20% from 2 weeks in the last 2 weeks or more?
Let me check. Last 2 weeks.
I'm feeling like I just didn't do a good enough job here. I'm up a good amount. I haven't looked, but some of my purchases are up 30, 40% from the lows. I'm like, man, what am I doing? I should have just. Anyways, I hate
2 weeks ago is November 25th, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Since November 25th, I am up. Let me do the math real quick. 35%.
Oh, that is good. That's a lot.
But also I was, I got hit hard in November. So we've recovered pretty much all of it, to be honest. So yeah.
That's really good. So I think this is what was expected for Qualcomm for Oracle. I saw Qualcomm in the chat, which keeps coming up in my alerts. Into 228. I would see this at best to 250. I don't know that it is 25%. That's 13%.
I think we could see a run to 250 tomorrow. I think we could see 250. Okay, so I'm with you. I think 265 or 185, but that 300 level, I don't think we easily get there tomorrow. No. And I think they've got to announce two things. They've got to explain how they're going to finance all the data center stuff because they've already put out a lot of debt. So that's going to be really important. And then two, can they get an Anthropic to commit to hundreds of billions like OpenAI? I mean, could they get that?
Here, let me do this too for the crew. So here's the gotcha, because after hours are nothing but lies and deceit for us. If you haven't learned that, if in the after hours Oracle looks amazing, and it cannot get through 246, you're in trouble. I'll just put that out there. You're in trouble. If it gets to 246 and stops on a dime, okay, that pretty sure that's going to be, that's a bearish retracement. That's bearish. And it would probably come straight back down to where it came from, 216 in short order. So for Oracle to have some kind of sense of survival, it really needs to start trending over 250 post earnings. Anything less than that is not going to be good enough for right in this moment.
Are you going to do an earnings trade on this one or no?
That's going to be up to the options. So I mean, I won't look until. Did you want to do it? I'm out of time.
No, I was just wondering I was thinking of it, but I'm also like, dude, they say anything the street doesn't like about debt, and I think this thing easily falls 10%. It might not be justified.
Doesn't matter. If for me, if I do an earnings trade, I'm not going to care where this goes. I'm just going to double my money however it works. I don't take directional trades for earnings. So like if it goes up 15% or if it goes down 15%, I'm going to try to double my money. In both scenarios, it's not going to be a condor. I don't use margin. It'll be a calendar. I would probably end up selling probably December 19th calls and probably buying calls and puts and buying January calls and puts and do some kind of double calendar on it in reality. And I can see the strikes already. It's 170 to the downside, and it is it's 250 to the upside. So it'd be buying January 170 put and 250 call, and it would be selling December. Ooh, that's too low. I'd have to finagle this a little bit. 190 put, and then 250 call. So 250 calls straight across the board, selling short dated, buying long dated. There's no, you can't lose more than you buy. And then the put side, I would probably go in the 190s. I'd probably sell some 190s, but buy 190s against it also. I see some really weird stuff. Huh?
What do you think for Broadcom, which is on Thursday?
Broadcom, I think, is coming in way hot. Honestly, I thought that it was going to come back down today, and then it instantly followed through. So technically speaking, I think this has some room. I mean, it has room to 420s. That's what we had measured out from before, 422. And I think that's from a very long-term perspective. Yeah, that's from this pullback right here takes you to 422. And 365 was like that doubling. So if this was that consolidation here, we'd measured this before, that 365 was actually going to be the ultimate target, and it basically got here. And then we got headlines, and headlines kind of changed sentiment, and it may want to get to 422s here, but I just feel like this is coming in super hot. So I would defer to shorts, actually short on, but as a hedge, I guess, or a very cheap nothing burger type trade where like if it goes to zero, you really don't care. But one of those shorts where like, all right, I could 10x my money or lose it all kind of situation. But as long as it's holding 395, which it just tapped barely today, I think it looks fine. But I'm not convinced here. This looks like more, yeah, this one is coming in super hot. So I don't know. I mean, it's had a slew of really good earnings. Some get sold off, some don't. It could have a big move. So I'd say 440 to 480 is your upside here. And then downside is to the 330, 320s. So downside here would be in the 320 area, maybe 330s. Probably not that bad. So I'd say, let's say 330 realistically right here on this volume shelf, like right in this area here. So that would be a 330 kind of downside shot, which really just tests this. That would actually be somewhat bullish anyways, if it did pull down to something like that. So Broadcom is a big mover from a dollar perspective, not percentage, but it moves a lot of dollars. But yeah, so upside in here, downside probably in the 330 area. Okay. Worst case, yeah, it's not going to hit 300 tomorrow, but if it can't like recover from a pullback to 330, 340s, then it could make a slow grind down back to 300, which again isn't really going to be bearish. I mean, it will be bearish in the very near term, but it would also be a typical pullback, like very typical pullback.
Okay, and then the last big one for this week is Adobe, which is getting a lot more people.
Dude. I thought, wait, what did Elf and Ulta and all them go already?
Yes. Yeah, they had earnings already. Ulta was last week. Lulu is this week.
Okay, Ruru. Did you buy anything? You bought those? Are you buying more sweats? Did you post your review?
I never bought sweats. I bought a hoodie like 5 months ago.
I thought it was sweats.
It was a good hoodie. No, it was like, I think I bought some pants, like some khakis. But I mean, look, every retailer has been crushing it. So I expect Lulu to crush it. I just don't know if the stock pumps.
You know, I bought a holiday stock today that I was just like, I'm just going to go for it. I bought Etsy. Yeah, we can take a look at that chart. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Etsy. Are you guys buying stuff on Etsy right now?
Honestly, I think I bought like one thing from Etsy my whole life, but it is
okay.
It's not like they're not a player in e-commerce.
Well, yeah, and definitely for holidays. So I think a good balance is 370s up to this 200-day on Adobe. And if it does that, then I think this becomes like a Salesforce where if you look back at some of the timestamp, did you say you made the playlist?
Yeah, it's just I gotta make it unlisted. Hold on, let me send it.
No, so the playlist wasn't for me. I need Dropbox or something. I owe you a drive. But for everybody, like if we did the playlist, you could go back to CRM and it would be similar. We're like, okay, so Adobe can get to 370s right here, high 370s. And at that point, it's going to be about, can it sustain that general trajectory? And if it does, slow and methodical continuation is what you're really looking for. Otherwise,
you think it follows Salesforce basically?
Yeah, I think it really can, because they're in the same bucket, right? Very, very much same bucket. So otherwise here look, Adobe is not a small company. First of all, this is a massive, freaking enormous company. Your downside is 279. So that's your downside, just around 280. While they might not be winning today, it's not going to be too dissimilar from CRM. It's just not. They're not going to go down without a fight. And while they might be old and antiquated, whatever, they're gonna get what's the word I'm looking for? Scrappy at some point, and they're gonna have to fight for survival. And I think they will. Is this the quarter that it shows up that there's progress? I don't think so. But is it possibly better than feared? I think so. Even GPT now, when I do like image creation, it's like, do you want to open up Adobe Photoshop and edit, right? Which is new, right? That's new. Wasn't there before. So upside 377, 380s, downside 280s. It's right in the middle. So it's basically, the downside is actually heavier. Shoot, look at that. Upside is what? That's like $50 at most. Yeah, I can't give this 400.
I still think they have a little bit of a narrative issue though. And I agree they're definitely undervalued, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, so I'm not saying undervalued, but definitely they have to do something. And so they're priced as if they're not doing anything really right now, or that whatever it is that they're doing is just not good enough. And I think that's what we're going to find out on this quarter. Does it have some kind of spark underneath whatever it is that they're doing? Do they have a better vision? And what does that look like? So I think you could get a press that probably gets pulled back on better than feared. And then you want to see how the stock reacts after that. Or she just continues on going down and then you just wait for 280.
Okay, cool. All right, so we can move into audience requests. Again, we were going to try to get through as many tickers as we can. I know that Trump is live right now. We'll see if we can get any quotes from him, but he's talking about the economy, so we'll see what he says.
What's going on with the economy?
Well,
you want to go to? We could go to Trump.
Dude, did you see the clip this morning?
No.
Of what he said about the economy? It's 10 seconds, but
show it.
It was great. This is how the economy is going, as per our president.
Pretty good.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home. And I wonder what grade you would give
A
your
plus.
economy. A plus.
Yeah, A plus, 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 plus.
Well, it's interesting.
Pretty good.
But I do.
He unlocks something
Pretty good
every day. A plus, 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 plus.
If it's not A plus though, it's Biden's economy. So
of course.
So when it's going good, it's Trump economy. Dude, they're already getting freaked out about Lulu. I thought Lulu had an NFL partnership. Did they not?
No, they definitely do. Pretty sure they
Which
do.
is new.
I think it's a couple months old, but yeah, relatively new.
I mean, so.
By the way, real quick, before we get into it, Palantir did get a $448 million contract after hours as well. This is with the U.S. Navy, folks. Shipbuilding, Ship OS.
Is it building ships?
It's Ship OS, not just new software. It is a new way of doing business that puts Palantir's cutting-edge tools in the hands of decision makers. This is how we turn America's technological edge into maritime industrial dominance. Now we build a true golden age at sea, as per the Secretary of the Navy.
Oh, it is building ships.
We don't have the years on that, but $448 million. Not bad. $500 million on that contract.
It's nice to see some news flow coming in again.
Yeah.
It's been pretty dormant for a while over there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's got some jitters on Lulu. I don't know. This one is sideways. TBD. It's hard one. No, I was just curious because I felt like it could be in a bounce. Hang on. These retailers, though, I'll tell you, just surprised the crap out of me. Even my VF Corp, which I sold a little early, I wanted to ride that to 25, but that thing was up like 70% too. I'm like, geez. Yeah, Ruru looks like bouncy. Maybe she sees two ish.
Well, what's his name? Burry's long this one as well. So
how do you know? He shut down his fund.
Well, no, but you tweeted he's long. Dude, he still wants to get attention on his tickers, even if he doesn't have to disclose.
Oh, his Substack. He's on a Substack now.
Yeah, but even on Twitter, he said he's long Lulu.
Ramon, but he might have sold. That might have been his sell candle right there. Maybe. I mean, does Burry hold through earnings? I don't know. Probably. You want to see if we can
2:30 on the clock. Let's start with AppLovin. What are you thinking about this one? 520 to 700 over the past.
Well, I asked you before if we should buy this, and you said no. And then I don't know what happened.
I actually did buy it, and then I sold it. And I made
sold it. Yeah. So
and then
you're
it went
trading.
to 520. It was a good sell, but then I didn't buy it. 520.
Yeah. So you're a trader, active trader, high frequency emit here. So I mean, it's all time highs, right? So what are you gonna do? You're at all time highs. You're all the way back from the lows. I don't even remember what this was.
SEC probe.
Yeah, that's right. So is it gone? It's probably gone. It's been so long.
It's not officially gone, but I think the street stopped caring about it.
Clearly, the street. Yeah, so the street definitively stopped caring over 600. Would have been a nice pickup somewhere around here, but I was not watching this either. So my bad. I don't know that this like fully continues here and now. That's got $1,000 handle on it. And here now, a pullback to 650s would be somewhere between six. This thing moves just so crazily. Anything in this green box, pullbacks into the mid to low sixes look buyable. If it does actually break out through 745, then and only then does this look like it has a trajectory to $1,000, legit $1,000, which that is kind of like how I would see this, which is why I'm like 650s, low to mid 600s would be a nice little pullback to complete some kind of cup and handle steamer over here. But it's going to get some love before earnings, which looks like it's in February. All right, next.
Grabby grab.
Grabby grab. I didn't buy any today. It's gone nowhere yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say real quick, I really don't think TA has mattered on this name for the past couple of weeks. I think fundamentally there's something else going on with the shorts, with SE, which has been down 30%, which is a close competitor, and with the GoTo acquisition. So I don't really think TA is going to tell a lot, but that's just my perspective.
I think it's like, you know, it's just it's not a US company. I don't think they trade the same way exactly. It's a US ticker. So there's other things, meaning that I don't know that it's going to move with our markets. That's what I mean by that. It might move with a different market, and I don't know what that other market's really doing.
I agree to that, but we got to 650 in September on 1 billion shares of volume. Either all of that was hype, fake, high beta move, or that was something real and it's artificially being held down at levels that are just kind of stupid from a valuation perspective. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, so that's why like there's a lot of volume here. The volume's decreasing. Some pulled up on that nice little dip buy, and I think it's stabilizing, quite frankly. So I even without the volume, I still think right here around this area is the same spot, like this area. If it's back over 520s, whatever that is, 522, that's all it's going to take. That was the high today. I don't think this is that far off, right? So for me, what I'm saying here is that I think this was great. I think 522, this big white line, is a big deal. And if we're over that, then we're good. This red line here is a 200-day simple moving average. 522 is today's high, like perfectly. But if this starts locking higher lows, literally from here, that 522 will instantly become support. And I was thinking about buying it today, and I bought some other things. I like it. So I feel like you're about to be bearish, and I'm not. So
I'm not bearish. I just think we need some fundamental catalysts, and something is holding it down. And
maybe exposure, general exposure. I think it's still culty. Not many people know about it.
Yeah. Again, I'm trying to remember price action in September, October, and why it got that volume, and why we saw the institutional Howard Marks, Ray Dalio continue to add. And then for all of that to be erased, I don't even think it's people taking profits. I think it's just some reason for why the market is not continuing to give it a I mean, you had Benchmark come out today, said, we still think $7 makes sense. So nothing fundamentally has changed, is my point. So going to your point, maybe it really is the not in the US, so it's not getting a multiple, right? Or something else that's happening. But I'm not.
I see a bounce on the chart. Like I see a bounce in the chart, like coming very soon. It's just the question to me is, does it take me past 6 on this next bounce? Because I can see it to 570s. That's what I see. But I just don't. Does it do this again before we can do that again? That's, I think, literally that is probably what you should expect here.
Yeah, that's fair. BMNR.
Beamer. All right. The Beamer. I thought we were starting with this one. Oh no, we started with Ethereum. Opposite. So 38 was support previously. We gotta watch out here, guys. So another Did you buy this dip too? $26 dip.
No, the last dip I bought was 32. I didn't buy below 30.
53% from the lows, not from my buy, not even from the lows. Dude, it's huge, bro.
If you got in for the first time in the 20s and 30s, you're pretty happy about this one.
I mean,
Obviously,
I'm happy here. I think it could go slightly higher. I'm very concerned that Ethereum and the crypto cohorts look super bullish for just another day or two, half a day, and just get completely wrecked, only to become a buy anyways. And the trajectory here is just under, like, it's 41 and a quarter. And so this, I'm just going to duplicate this. Is it okay if I take a little bit longer here? No, too long.
Yeah, no, that's fine. People
I mean, so this one here, this was the support from this area. So support over here, right? We know where this came from, and just go back into the playlist, and it is a quick, like, multifaceted extension completed, gap up and go kind of day here, held exactly as the following TT sessions kind of said that we needed to do. We saw everything we needed to see. This was looking good. And here we are. So now we've gotten to the first benchmark. And so the first resistance level. So here across the board, just underneath $40, this is resistance. 50% off the lows. This is good. I don't want to press this bet. I'm not selling this. I think it looks good. So now we want to say, all right, so what does a general pullback look like here? And what is a good pullback going to look like? And then when we get there, if we get there, I get to decide again what I want to do. And so right here was that prior level, 3250. It's going to line up to about the 20-day simple. I need this to be even consider a pullback here below 35.79. I think anything in this area or even here becomes buyable, but I'm not buying here. No shot am I buying here. If you were sitting on BMNR, I'm not short BMNR, but if you were sitting on it and you sat on it through this entire drawdown, and you are happy to get out of it here, this is your opportunity. I think that you can pull back a little bit, and we want to look. I want to see if it can lock a higher low somewhere below 35, and then start to press back up again one more time, and then maybe even consolidate into that 40 level. But I honestly think that 50 is our next shot. That's about 38s on Ethereum, which I do think is coming, and that's what that would look like. 41.80, we get there too fast though. That's even more trouble, and I'm actually probably gonna maybe trim quickly, or 47s. So these two red boxes, these are our resistance levels, the bear zones, if you will, that we need to get through. Let me just do one more from here. I think we get to 48, and that was like my ultimate target from this buy zone of where I'm trying to get to from here, 48. And then if we can get that and eventually pull back, that right here is really ideal. And in between here and there, can we get a little blip in the radar? Yeah, I think so. So one of those two scenarios like this, I think this is more likely. That actually is very constructive. That's where I think we're going to try to get to. Again, Ethereum needs to hold, and maybe that's like the last. That's maybe this press is that Santa Claus rally. We'll see.
Yeah, and if ETH actually does get to that 4,000 level, you're looking at. I mean, that would be obviously very good for BMNR.
We're looking at $50. Yeah, MSTRs. Man, I said I wasn't bearish anymore.
Did you buy last week? I know you liked it last week.
Yeah, I bought it. I didn't take any option trades on it because, again, I need to see like a sustained rally. This is not really good enough for anything long dated. to just based on the chart yet. It's very close. So holding right now, 187 is a critical level on MSTR. It's super critical. I'm sorry, I'm just going to this one now. So I know it's not what you chose, but my bad. I'm not trying to take over.
No, this is good. This is a good one.
But it's an easy follow-up. I think if we can hold over that 187, first of all, this press should have gotten us to 197. I think I had that in the cards previously to fill like this area. That's about the 20-day. I think if we can go sideways, maybe even chop a little bit, that's fine. But the next press should take us to 218, possibly 230s. And I mean, ultimately, you're looking at 270s. But here at this 230 area, that's the next level of resistance, which means that if Bitcoin can kind of stabilize here and the DATs get a little bit more love, and I'll just say this right now, it's probably one of the most hated stocks out there for a while in different circles. This might end up being one of those most hated rallies, which is kind of an interesting trade to be part of. So if we do get into one of those most hated rally trades, that's a little X factor, which I don't know if it goes, it could really be a big deal. So, again, I'll just put this, you guys can see this white line all the way across. It's this line right here. That number is 188.85. Comes from the top of this box right here, right there. Essentially, all we did is we pulled back, dipped right into this value area of that prior consolidation. And technically, this is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And it's starting to barely claw its way out of that support box. Once it can get some momentum underneath it, well, then we should be able to see 230s, at which point, that's equivalent to BMNR. That's a pretty big bounce right here. But watch sentiment for the digital asset treasuries and crypto as a whole. A pullback, even in the 170, like low 180s, I think is also to be expected. Like violent pullbacks on this sometimes. But anyways, next.
Okay. Microsoft.
I like Microsoft a lot. I think it did the bounce, like right here, 460s. I mean, that was just beautiful. We're right over 489. Today, it was really toying with this 20-day simple. It's like getting sucked into it. I think that we make a shot to fives very soon. I think over fives, like 513s. But the market as a general, like in general is in a holding pattern. So a lot of things are in a holding pattern right now because we have these multifaceted catalysts, especially like a mega cap stock like Microsoft. I think this, again, if you look across the board, is it at a bit of a discount? Well, the higher it goes, the less of a discount it is. But even still, right now, this is on the mend. After being at a pretty solid discount. I'm not selling any of this Microsoft I bought. I think this is a great deal. But I'm not in a huge rush, although where it sits right now, if this is over 496s, I think we see 507 very quickly. And this is another squeeze. So if it can go just a little bit higher, what you're looking at is reclaiming this pivot right here at 492, and that's going to line up to the 20-day, and it should give you a straight shot into 505s for right now. I like Microsoft. Yeah, and long term, I think you see this area, but that's not till it's at some point next year.
Okay, SMCI.
So I think there was a little hesitation because I guess they're in the S&P 500. So we had that rotation or that rebalance on Friday. And I think there was a little hesitancy. Maybe they thought it was going to get taken out of the S&P 500. And now that that's out of the way, I think you're good. When we broke down here, one of the last technical Tuesdays, whatever, I'd said, hey, look, we're looking at this area right here. If we lose this and we lose this trajectory, it's 33s. Actually got all the way down to 31, filled an actual gap down here. I don't have any other crazy gaps other than this insanity, which is probably never going to get filled. This is on the mend. So today, looking really constructive. The reason I bought it is because, you can kind of tell it's created that little base here. I think some of any concerns are out. I'm looking for this higher low to base in right here around 34s and make this trajectory into that $40 level right now. And again, it becomes one of those, it's at a discount. It's been a discount. It's always a discount. I like the story on this, but technically it's a stunted chart, but it's in a spot where I look at this here now and I'm like, look, if I'm patient, I'm definitely going to get, I'm pretty positive I'm going to get back in this area, like 60s. It's just how long do I get there? But I think here now on SMCI, this is the lows. This is where you take your shots in this area. This is where it gets bought up. So hence the equity buy, not option buy, equity buy. And I want to see it start to reclaim some of these significant SMAs and that broken downtrend. At the very least, retest the bottom of that downtrend, which is like 42. So from here to there, you bet you. I'll
34 to 42.
Yeah, all day. Yeah, very similar to this one that I bought right now, which is your, I didn't make the thing on Etsy, but every year it gets a little bit of a run. Plus, Etsy trades in a very clean box, and it has for a very long time. This is a weekly chart, extremely long term, but the box is just clearly like 55s right in here, and it makes this. It's at the 200-day simple moving average right now, which is acting like a little bit of like overhead pressure. So I take it back. It's going to open over that tomorrow. This thing's probably going to be up 10% tomorrow morning. Do you want to take a pick of the day from your boy? It's this one. Like now, this is going to open up in a squeeze any higher immediately. Tomorrow, regardless of FOMC. And a stock like this, when we look across the indices, IWM is the strongest still. We're looking at this January effect. I'm looking across the board in that sector, in that cohort. This fits my retail. This fits my holiday trade. This fits my January effect. Yeah, I took it. Call me crazy. I don't know. But
I don't hate it, dude. I mean, all the retailers.
From a trading perspective, this is the box that Etsy lives in right here. It's lived in this box for years, right here. So I think this is actually a very low risk, high reward spot for $60 type calls, even though it's a 55. So that's what I see for Etsy. I don't expect it to get to 75, but I can see 65 real quick. This to me is the definition of a low risk, high reward technical setup for a swing trade, weeks, possibly, not even just intraday. All right.
Okay.
Moving on. Sorry. Not sorry.
A lot of people asking about Carvana. BNA, any thoughts on this one?
Carvana. I mean, the S&P 500 kind of gets the thing. How long before they sell it off, though? Or do they?
I mean, dude, it's up 130% this year.
Look at this chart, bro. I mean, I was looking for your Substack on Carvana when it was like $4 too, and you never wrote it. Now it's at $450. This is
100x in 2 years.
This is surpassed NVIDIA. This is surpassed like every other stock. Now Carvana becomes the best performing S&P 500 stock. See how they do that? Do you see who they removed also, by the way? Like, what a joke. Anyways, I'm ranting. I think 375 is that prior all-time high. I'm on a very long-term chart here. this is just one of those, like, I've sold cars to Carvana. I've never bought cars to Carvana or from Carvana. I was shocked. I mean, the chat will probably know if you've ever done this. She's shocked at how much money they're willing to give you so quickly too. I'm like, how are they going to make money on this? I don't know. But 373 is a good spot to be. If it does pull back, this is well on its way. It's an active breakout on sentiment. So this would take you to, I mean, 475, which is only a couple dollars more, at most 520. So I can't chase this. There's not enough meat on the bones for me to chase this. I'd have to wait. I definitely have to wait on this one for this to come back down to 400s. And if it does come back down to 400, somewhere between 400 and 475, all right, I'll maybe, I'm not going to buy it. What am I talking about? That's what I think is going to happen. I think you make this trajectory. It can continue on. Then you look for this pullback and bounce just like that.
Okay.
So congratulations. What a run.
AMD. What are you thinking about this bad boy?
I
Do
mean,
you think it just falls NVIDIA end of year?
no, I mean, follows NVIDIA. I mean, let's be real. This thing is leading NVIDIA right now, but it's not over 277 yet either. So this chart has not changed. I think it's still right there. This, to AMD's credit, is looking also squeezy. So, man, I'm just gonna wake up one day and there's gonna be another headline. What are you doing here, dude? I already outlined what the structure needs to look like. At this point, I can look at this chart and say that structure is I think that structure is going to show up. So I don't know why I would wait at this point for the structure to show up, because I'm like, all right, the dips could still be into that 215 level, but look at this. This is not. If a higher low shows up anywhere over 210s, it's going to, that structure, that bullish structure on its merry way to 300s is going to happen. So like, this is what I was thinking, something like that. I think I had 207. Oh my goodness. So we did I was joking and I said 207, lock it in. What is that? I got 211. I didn't even get my 207. I would have wanted this 207 right there. I didn't get it. So fail. I got a little bit double top at that major resistance level. I still think you look for that higher low to confirm. Maybe it's still at 207, but this is trying. I just don't know that you rush into this. I guess the question is AMD versus NVIDIA here now. I'm kind of NVIDIA. Not that I don't like AMD, but I've always been more of an NVIDIA fan than AMD. I think AMD is a good trader. I don't know.
Okay.
They can both be good, dude.
Unity, we have Adar, who's up 320,000 on Unity.
Oh, dollars.
Yes, and he's curious your thoughts on this one.
Okay, so last I looked at Unity, it was like, okay, just let it breathe. It's going to pull back. It did pull back to 33. Those are his ASUs, RSUs that he's up so much on, or what?
Might be his options, to be honest.
Yeah, his RSUs are up heavily. So congrats, dude. Do you remember buying? I was like, $14. This has got a good chance to double, and it's like 50 right now, dude.
I am sure there are people in the chat who work for a company who have said, "Hey, what do you think about this stock?" Because they know their stock.
Oh, definitively.
Because like the CEO or your manager is not going to tell you if the stock's going to go up, right?
Yeah.
You have to keep working. Oh, he says
Well,
not
no,
option.
the CEO and the manager might think that the stock's going to go up, but they're also wrong a lot because they don't know how the market works. Because we're a double beat.
My cousin works for a tech company in California, and they had earnings, and that stock did not go up. And she's just looking at her stock-based comp like, why do I have this shit? It's not even no. It's like it's a double-edged sword. You get a lot of stock, but it has to move higher for it to be worth it.
So this is like it's at the pivot point. I mean, what are we doing on Unity? What's the valuation? This looks good, but it looks like one of those where like it can get slapped again. 21 billion. It's literally right here. So $49.75, $50 is going to be big, massive psychological level. This is going in the Wayback Machine all the way to July 2023, 49 and change. And then even in the way back machine, August 2022, you actually have a session gap right here in the way back machine. So all of this up into $50, big round number, massive psychological level. It's good. It would be cool to get through there, but we're not through there. This is very much like my Rivi at 18, just under 18. It looks good, but it's not there yet. So it's working. This chart is looking like my Rivi, but maybe better. But yeah, it's got to get through that $50 psychological level. I think it can get pressed to 56s, but when we get there, all right, well, that's a big deal. And ultimately your trajectory is to 65. Sorry. My time is up, which kind of puts my pullback still in that $40-ish range. So even if it pulls back and doesn't make that trajectory, I wouldn't be too discouraged. Anything that pulls back and holds around the low 40s is still constructive here. But this is a big turnaround on the stock chart. It's big. So if it goes, this is meaning you want to give this some time to breathe.
ANET.
Oh, I need to look at this anyways. I think we're good. I think I'm good. 114. 112 is there. 114 is probably as good as I'm going to get. So now the question becomes, when does it accelerate? And it's right here. Oh, okay. So another stock that's kind of in waiting mode. I think dips are viable into the 120s. Yeah, this looks good. I think the next press is into the 140s, but again, that's going to be resistance. I just don't know that it's going to be all of that tradable. I think you usually want to get like something like this in the 120s and then see it go through. And before it does that last press, there's usually some kind of like, like sideways price action, which is what we're seeing. A couple liquidity grabs and then news or some update or FOMC or NFP, something like that takes us to 640, which, I mean, dude, this is going back to where it came. So that's 140. I said 640, and then until 148s, and then all-time highs. Yeah, it's buyable. It looks great, actually. Dips buyable. 200s for extension.
Okay. A lot of people asking for JP Morgan. I mean, I don't know how many people want to take advantage of a 4% dip, but any thoughts on this one?
That's massive.
It is massive.
What did he say?
Something about delinquencies and then something about costs being higher than expected. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but they definitely surprised the street by about 5 billion to the downside, or to the upside, because more expenses than not. So street wanted 100 billion, they came in at 105, and that took it down. This has had a good year. I don't know if this is a hit buy. Yeah, it's up like 30% this year, right?
I mean, it depends on how you measure that.
Yeah, dude, for a bank up 25% in a year, that's phenomenal. That's
Yeah,
outperforming Meta.
Yeah.
And Amazon.
So like this is 60% from the lows.
Yeah.
So this is I think you can watch it around the 290 level. JP Morgan is a good company or a good stock to sell some premium on, like longer dated, a little bit longer dated. Here now though, I would expect some kind of knee-jerk reaction on a dip. If it holds 300, it might buy this bad boy up pretty quickly, but 290s down to 280s for sure. So the 200-day is at 277. These all kind of become viable, quite frankly, but as close to 290 or lower as you can. And again, it's a bank, so you want to have like you want to have a longer time horizon, depending on. Oops, sorry. Let me just remeasure that. Depending on how you're looking at trading this, if you're looking at trading that, yeah, okay. So my targets are all acquired here to the upside. I don't see anything wrong with this other than, target acquired. So expect some kind of consolidation and pullback. I don't think you're going to see 260, but I could see 290s. You just got to let this kind of be. You can jump into it if you see other people jumping into it though.
Okay. Circle.
Careful with JP Morgan though. It has a very different personality than everything else. It ends up faking out. It does a lot of fake moves in the morning. Like it'll open high, close low, open low. It reverses intraday a lot. Circle got to essentially those IPO lows. Lockup is over. They're free to sell. It is on track to get to that $100 level again, but this is not like bad. Yeah, I do think that this goes. Investor like insider lockup. I don't know. I guess not going to do anything. They're not going to sell it this low, or they're just not going to sell it, which might be a big deal. Who are the main investors on this? Do you know? Is it like, yeah? Is it something like Masa? Like if Masa-san is like heavy in here, or something like an investor lockup. You remember ARM? Investor lockup happened, but nothing happened to the stock. This is reminding me of that very much so.
I think a lot of the IPO guys took profits because it's been 6 months, but I think Kathy is still pretty heavy in this one.
Well, Kathy's not selling. I can see 115s on this, and then pulling back. You'd want to see it hold about 100, 106, something like that. But I can see it bounce, actually sustaining, a little choppy, but getting to 115s on this guy. You just don't want to have it go lower than 80.
Right. ELF?
Mid 70s. On a shelf.
You bought this, right?
No, but we looked at it. Somebody waited 2 hours. I remember the comments like, I waited 2 hours to get to this. And then he was like, I don't know. But my comments were what they are because of what it is. And so now, I like these instant V-shaped recoveries, not like my favorite, right? But when they do get a big bounce like this, and then they come in and then it locks a higher low, that's better. So here versus here, I'm actually more interested in, or even here versus here, I'm more interested in, because if I have something to trade off of, in terms of like, I can set a cleaner risk parameter on ELF here now, literally at this, then I can define a risk reward for a trade, and I can say, all right, well, this is on an up and up, or it's not on an up and up. And I think here from the lows, we were like, okay, it could get to 80, and then I want to see it hold. I can see a couple more inside days. This is multifaceted in terms of trade war rhetoric, and rates, I think, and mostly NFP. But this day, typically this sets up as a neutral to bullish setup. So if this is over, if it's over 81 trending, I kind of think this is long, dude. Now, not before, because I didn't have enough structure, and I could see this with a stop around 74s. So basically, as long as it's holding over 74, I think it's on the mend. And so on the mend would look like something like this into 84. I can see a little pullback even then. And then if it eventually gets over 85, then here's your new trajectory, just like this. And then you have another range from 93 to 100, boom. So that is your pathing of how to get from 70s to 100, and eventually 100 to whatever it is up here. There's a lot of things that have to go right, but it starts just like this, and it starts with like that stop right around 75. I'm zooming out just a little bit just to make sure I'm good on that level. Yeah, so even here, what do I call that? It's a monthly. Yep. So I want to see some kind of new trajectory build. Again, this could take a while, but it's going to be retail dependent and tariff dependent. So
And the
I
same,
I think the lows are in, essentially.
I was going to say in the same niche, Nike, which both of these could benefit if the tariffs get reversed. From the
Oh yeah, I bought Nike again. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I like it. I nibble at it from time to time. I think that it's I don't love it. It's not like a convincing long. It's like something where I'll just, at some point these guys are going to turn around, and whether or not it's inflation, I don't know. I don't mind throwing a little bit at Nike from here from time to time, but it had filled like that entire earnings move from way back filled. And I think that this is setting up for some kind of movement. It's going to be an earnings story. Like if it doesn't do well on earnings, then we're talking about 50s again. But if it does do well on earnings, then I think we're talking about 80s quickly. So I don't mind that risk reward profile really here, because here to here, that's 17% downside versus 25% upside or more is how I see Nike. So from just that raw perspective, I get it's still in consolidation, but from that risk reward perspective, I'm okay. It's still in a big transition phase, so it's possible that this doesn't go anywhere. But it is the laggard. It's the catch up. This is the catch up trade in retail. Literally, this is the catch up trade. So if this one does see 80, if it sees 80 and continues, I think it has a date with the triple digits. like soon thereafter. So people will get excited about a turnaround story if and when it shows up. It's just not there yet. So how many quarters is this for the new guy? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, about a year.
About a year. Usually it's like a 2-year thing before like actual results start showing up. But
basically, you're saying it's probably bottomed at this point. Given
I'm saying it's de-risked to me at this point. And does it go up immediately? Probably not immediately, but it's possible in this environment. And it could just be that short of a headline of we're giving you a rebate on all these tariffs that you paid. And it's like, boom, instant up, at least for the near term.
Path.
I just never followed this stock. Is this an idea stock? Remind me.
No, they just became profitable. I mean, they've got real growth. So
Really?
I think it makes sense. The turn, yeah.
What does it do?
Robotic processing automation. It automates a lot of tasks in enterprise software. So AI should be a tailwind because of the automation angle. Not like crazy growth, but they just turned a GAAP profit. So I understand why the street's excited. But it's been dead for 2 years. Kathy sold like 30 million shares of this a year ago because of how stuck it was.
I mean, it's at a critical pivot point. I think this one is like if you got long in the low teens, then you probably take a little bit of the chips off the table, but definitely keep runners on. And I think that's where it is. If it pulls back to the 15s, then I also wouldn't be surprised. And at that point, I would see 15 being like an area that it would probably gather some more interest in. That was that old support over here, 15, right in this area, and resistance. So here now, it's basically this is the box. It's basically at this level of resistance. If it gets through, cool. Well, you get into the 25s, 24s, which is just one more area right up in here, 24 and change. But a pullback on something like this is only a few days that it's done that. It makes sense. And some kind of consolidation, but it's a low float. So like if you get this piece, something like this, at any point, like even if it's right now, that's your trajectory. However it looks, it hasn't gone through yet. It's right at it, 19 and change, right here.
Okay. We haven't looked at this one in a while. SoundHound.
Path is a weekly squeeze, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they just had earnings last week.
SoundHound looks...
Dan Ives took this off his AI 30 list. Replaced him with CoreWeave.
Why? Oh, for CoreWeave.
With CoreWeave, he's more bullish on the Neo clouds.
Neo cloud. So what is the old cloud? Just
we call it a cloud. It's not a new cloud, so it's not Neo.
Okay. I don't hate this, quite frankly. You'd want to see this lock a higher low. So like in here where it just bounced off of, that's deep. That was the old resistance here. This is why I'm spending like some time looking at this. So this was that old resistance level here on SoundHound, here, and it was support right here. And this situation here is basically what we're looking at one more time. So if it comes in and holds, that's a potential launch pad. I don't know. I guess from a technical perspective, we got earnings. Something the street did not like whatever happened on this earnings. I don't know what it was, but that's gross. 30%. I mean, I guess that's par for the course on a stock like this. But yeah, if this can hold, 12s, literally where it's at right now, it's not going to look horrible.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's 10s, which again, 12 to 10 after holding through a $20, a 50% drawdown. It's like, what's the? It looks like it's gonna just give it some time before the next setup comes in, but it's setting up.
MasterCard.
That's a new one.
Yeah, we have.
I thought this was looking ugly. This is not pretty. Apparently, everybody's buying PayPal instead of MasterCard. Sorry, they're not though. Do you know MasterCard is one of the greatest stocks of the market?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
An OG stock, yeah.
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this, guys. I mean, that's amazing. Visa too, but you don't notice it like from a day-to-day perspective.
Yeah.
They don't move a whole lot. So I don't. Do they still have their Bitcoin card?
Well, they announced a dividend and 14 billions of buybacks today.
14 billions.
That's a pretty big amount of buybacks.
Yeah, so you're at support here. This is one of the greatest of all time stocks that many don't know it actually is. Maybe you do. If you've been in the market for many years, you do. But yeah, this looks good. You just got to be super patient. Like this can pull back into 5s, and it still shouldn't change your perspective on a stock like this. It's hard to trade because like trading wise, it's like, but this 520, dude, this is fine. What are you talking about? It's slow, lower lows and lower highs. So what you really want to wait for, if you really want to be like cautious, is you want to wait for this channel that it's in, which is it's a downtrend. So it's going down. But you want it to start to base and go sideways. So here's the last low at 525. So you can use that as a relative stop loss, meaning that if it goes below 525, look, you are going to probably see just below 500, at which point it's a better deal. But if you start to see a higher low in this area, that's how it's going to build. It's going to be slow and boring, but for a fast, high frequency trader like Amit, who likes to be in and out in a day, he's not going to have fun with this stock. But over the long run, this company pays a lot, has made a lot of millionaires.
All right, we got about 5 more tickers left, about 15 minutes, and then we'll be out of here. Again, please make sure to be following Jason on X. Jason, when is the new School of Gains launching again? January, right?
I think they're targeting like the middle of this month.
Oh, soon. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So let's call it Christmas, just to be safe. But don't worry. We'll have trailers. We'll have the whole 9. Look, I got a production team on it that are just like working. It's probably like it's not probably. This is literally the biggest investment that I've put into the company. We took all the money that we made this year and put it right back into, and then some, into this production. So,
well, that's the American dream, right? You take your money and you just reinvest it to grow.
Yeah, it was that or buy a car. Right. And it was like, well, that's a dumb purchase. So
you guys know Jason almost bought a Cybertruck?
Dude, no.
I drove it. We both didn't know how to function because this thing was like
Did
so
not.
big, and we ended up not buying it. But
Yeah. So, what are we on? I'm sorry.
okay, last 5 tickers. Galaxy.
We're getting into some. Oh, did you call your buddy? You interviewed this guy.
Oh, Novogratz.
Yeah, this looks.
I didn't call him, but the street upgraded the stock to 60 today.
To what?
So 60. I haven't read the report, but do you know the guy who's bullish hood at $8, Devin Ryan? He initiated coverage at 60.
I don't know who Devin Ryan is. I know the guy that was bullish at $8 on hood named Jason.
Well, there were some other people on Wall Street that were bullish. So I respect his opinion a lot. I haven't read his report, but I think that helped today.
Technically, this looks good. This looks like it's going to try and traverse. Dude, I don't know what's going on with these things.
CleanSpark, all the data center plays got a move today as well, except Nebius.
Did they? This is a real data center. Nothing. What's Digital Realty?
I forgot. No, I forgot.
DLR.
Yeah. I guess I should say the Bitcoin miners turn data centers.
Yeah. The Neo gods.
The Neo data center. Or the failed business models that found a miracle pivot. That's really what it is. Let's just be honest. The Bitcoin miners were, dog shit for the past 2 years. And they found AI to save them. And they pivoted, and it's working. So,
if it continues to work, it continues to work.
Okay, so you're bullish Galaxy.
Yeah, this looks like it just started. So I think if it holds a 20-day, it's right on a pretty critical pivot. Like, I like this area, this general uptrend. If it holds, it's kind of like if this whole thing was a channel, if you will, like since inception. Yeah, it can get pretty wild. But there's what I was just reading on the chart. I couldn't really explain it, but this entire thing is just one big channel as I see it, and it's just now coming off the bottom. So that puts it at 33, potentially just under 40 is your center line. I don't know why you would be in IREN if this chart looks like this. I'll just say this looks way better than any of the other whatevers that I've seen today. And I never look at this stuff. CleanSpark. No. Nora.
That was the
God, no. Just no. Just say no. But they're all probably good for a bounce.
Yeah. Okay.
Zeta? $9.
Yeah. Zeta. ZETA.
Zeta. Yeah. So circle, good. Zeta. She did it. Did we have this level before?
16 2 weeks ago. So
I think that's what we said she was going to do.
Yeah. You got a lot of people arguing it should be closer to 30, but it's made a nice move.
So for that to happen, we just need to see the next setup. That would be the next move. I love how people like to front run the charts and they just get super bullish. So you're in a downtrend. So you guys know it's down and to the left or to the right. It's down to the left. And so your top part of this channel is here. What you need to see is like this, give it a bit. If it can start trending over 20, here, let's do it. Is it 30? I don't know. So it's $20 even. You're probably going to see $20.50. Then you're going to pull back a little bit. So it's going to look like this, then this, and then you're going to want to see something else. And what this would look like, it's not 30, it's 25. It's not bad. It's going to land you right in here, into this upper zone at best, which is 25%. Respectable. But 30, you're literally saying this company is going to double or 50%?
Yeah, but that has to do more with the fundamentals, nothing with technicals. I mean, people really think, and I haven't done that much work on it, but I tend to agree. Like, it's a $4.5 billion company. It's not really the largest market cap.
Yeah, no big deal. I would think if you saw 30 or anywhere close to it, you're probably going to shortchange yourself, and it'll be 36.
Yeah, easily. No. Okay, AMKR. This is Stock Talk's #1 position.
Well, it's at 40. There it is. I mean, do you press this bet here? It's not. Is it still his #1 position?
Yeah, I mean, he's been taking off. He has a lot of calls. He's been selling some, but he's thinking of holding a good chunk of this until 2028. I don't know if you buy it here. I do think my idea was it'll get to 50 by the end of next year. I mean, we're pretty damn close now, so it might be getting re-rated, or it might just be running hot right now.
I mean, it's running hot. It's not extending yet.
Yeah, I really thought you would see 45 closer to like May of 2026. So this one happened way quicker than expected.
Yeah. So 35 was kind of like a pivot area to get into here. Into here. It's like a NVIDIA kind of situation where 44.50, you have an imbalance that need to be filled anyways. The question is right now, look, AMKR has never spent any considerable period of time at 45. So the real question is this just like a quick vacation stay at this valuation, or does it build a new home here before it can move on to 60s? So if it does move on, it is 60s. But I think that's the question. So is this just it would be abnormal for something like that to just continue on straight away. And if it did, I would definitively say sell it all, because that's not sustainable, especially for a non-tech company. And you're fundamentally trading there. So you have to have a fair value. If you're a fundamental trader in this situation, that's fine. But you have to have a fair value. Right now it's 38s, and it's just trying to decide whether or not this is a quick vacation at 45 before it comes back to what the market sees is, or if it can actually make the trek into 60s. But at 60s, if you're buying this because it's undervalued fundamentally, and I only say that because that's usually how he trades that in news. You have to sell it up here at 60, 65.
Yeah, I mean, if we hit 60, I'm probably selling at that point as well.
It's a great trade so far, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, last two, Celsius.
Let me clap this off. Don't run away from this. I think if you have you could peel a little back, put some money in your pocket, let the runners ride. Let your winners run on this one. See what it has, but it's a tough spot to press. Celsius. I mean, this looks exactly how it's supposed to look right now. exactly how it's supposed to look. I am still, as a matter of fact, a shareholder of record on Celsius. I've not gone anywhere. This is looking perfectly fine. And I have no problem. I'm actually not trying to look at this one at all, because I think if I look at it too close, I'm gonna get wicked out. I think that I nailed this. I think I did. And I think that if it does this, then I'm gonna see like a nice little pullback. That's fine. That puts me in the 40s. I bought what I bought. I'm happy here. I could be completely wrong, by the way. This is only 20%, unlike a lot of these other buys that we've seen are like 50, 35, 40%. So this is technically underperforming, but it's also, it's one of those stocks that it's in a, what's the word? It's in a defensive category, staples category. But if it can hold like comfortably over 44, 45, then the trajectory that it was on becomes very real previously, and I can definitively trade this. I can expect this to see 50s, mid 50s on Celsius. That's my expectation here. It's just it's in a different type of sector, so it doesn't move with your typical growth stocks. But here now, I like it.
Okay.
Being patient.
Last one. Honestly, why don't you choose the last one? I'll read a couple tickers for you. Reddit, Applied Digital, Snowflake, Salesforce. Any of these that you like? Roku. Huh.
Roku. I don't know. I was just looking at my team and what they're trading right now. I'm looking at my team trading Moderna, Roku. I mean, this is 105s.
How much is Roku up this year? I think it's done like 50%, 40%.
Yeah. I thought this was going to be one of your Substacks. There was a technical Tuesday way back in the day and said low key Roku could be a Roku, not Broku.
You know,
could
Chris
be
and
a
I, in 2022.
could be a
Chris
long.
Chris and I did a deep dive on Roku in 2022. There is a thesis there.
Oh yeah.
It's just not that exciting, but there absolutely is a thesis.
Let me ask you this. Does the thesis come to fruition now that Netflix is in the spot that they're in? And does the Netflix money move over to Roku?
Well, from a multiple perspective, I think I'd rather own Roku than Netflix. 100%. But fundamentally, ask me next 10 years, you got to point one, it's Netflix, no question.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. I don't know if the money
I will
goes
keep
to-
driving by Roku headquarters, and when I finally see someone in a window, I'll let you know. But every time I drive by the building, it's a ghost town. It's scary ghost town, and it's a pretty decent sized campus out kind of in the middle. No, it's over by the airport. You should drive. Do you go by it next time you fly into San Jose? Just take a little stroll through by In-N-Out. It's right next to In-N-Out. But this chart is like telling me something funky's going on here. So it's trying to get up and out. This is right here. So 110s, 120s. If this goes, we have earnings coming soon. I'm just putting on the radar. It's a radar stock. Yeah, let's call it a radar stock. It did make a new high from this multi-year base. 13, how many years is 1,300 days?
It would be
1,400 days. Okay,
Basically.
nearly 4-year base. What's the saying? I don't know. The higher the base, the longer the base, something. I don't know. But it's getting a little wild. So as long as it holds 80, I think this is longer term. But if the Netflix narrative isn't bullish for Netflix and they start looking other places, look, this is a $140, $150 stock in the near term, very near term. Here, which is still a blip on the radar of this chart. So it's a radar stock. What else are they looking at? The guys are looking at Moderna. Oh my God, I have not looked at this thing in forever. Why is this peaking its head up over the 200? What's going on with Moderna? Is anything happening with Moderna? Is the short over? Are we done being bearish?
Honestly, the healthcare trade is a little weird right now. But I don't know anything specific is happening with Moderna. Can we look at that?
This is nearly where I bought it the last time.
Yeah. COVID gave it momentum and then it just fell right back. Can we look at ONDS real quick? This one is still up 250 year to date and just has been a massive drone name.
I think that we talked about this the last time. This is exactly what we were looking at. So this was the top of the box here, and this was the bottom of the box here. So last time ONDS, Le Drones, did bounce, made the trek up to the highs. This is what we would call like a little, again, kind of imbalanced 964 from this blip on the radar. Not a big thing, but what you'd want to see happen from here is you actually want to see it if it can stay over 930. So if this is the box right here, this is your resistance, if you will. I think my last statement or sentiment here was to be patient. You don't want to see this lose 9, because if you lose 9, you can go to 8.25, and then you're probably back to being a buy at 725, and this continues the trek. But see what I just did right here. If this can do that and hold in over this 930, that's really what you're looking for. So that becomes your pivot. It's 907. $9.07 is this bright green line. Basically comes from over here, and then you're moving the box, and so the next spot is in the 10s. That said, I don't know that you're in this stock for that move. I just don't know if that's what you're here for. So maybe I need to take a different perspective, just realistically. Like what are we trying to get to on ONDS? This is I
mean, it's made the move, so I don't think people can be upset if it normalizes here.
It's 15, right? So the next move is to 15s that we have measured out from a prior session. It's always like, well, is there more? It's always is there more in the tank, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so 830 is that center line. So I could see a pullback. If it holds 830, then that is definitively taking that prior support area that was down at 750 and just moving it up one more. And so that would be good. So I'm on a monthly chart right now, so it's going to look a little funky. And I know I'm spending a little bit more time, but I think there are a lot of people that like this stock. Yeah, it's somewhere between 830, 825, and 870. That would continue this trajectory. Sorry, this is like chicken scratch on this chart right now. But yeah, essentially, it's this here at whatever that line that is. I think that's about 830. And if it can hold over that, then you would be kind of building like another one of those. Where is another green candle like this that kind of puts it into that 12 area? And maybe you have another red candle, right? And eventually, if you can get something like that, that's how you get to 15. But that's fine. And I think you can kind of expect something like that. And even if you have like a big red wick like that on one of these, you're still going to be okay, which puts your your buy at that, whatever that is. That's like 830 ish level. Trying. She tried. That's a monthly chart though, so that means it takes a while. So still patience.
All right. That is it for us. We got Rocket Lab getting a little bit of a pump after hours.
Dude,
Nice.
I don't know. Do we need to buy more lava rockets? I'm not convinced that we don't want to buy more. I'm watching it. We'll see.
There is Jason's X in the chat.
Yeah.
You can follow him there.
Appreciate
I'll put his YouTube as well. And
Yeah,
dude, tomorrow's a big
Mondays.
day.
Tomorrow's a big day. It's a day. It's going to be a big reaction day, I think. Or it could be a big reaction day. The dot plots are usually, we usually get some reactions on the dot plot days.
J-Pow's
And then
got
we
a
still have,
high, you know?
I mean, it's definitely purple tie. When
Gotta
did
be
you,
purple.
dude, we should have asked Vlad on his AMA if he was going to do like what I do really good at those Kalshi polls of like when there's a speech or something, like what's Powell going to say? Do we play FOMC bingo? Like I do really good at those speech bingos. Like I crush them all. I don't think I've lost money on one. Huh?
Yeah. Good morning, cough, like all those things. They need to.
Yeah. We should do. Are you going to do it live?
Yeah, I'll be live. I'll put it in the Kalshi poll too, and we'll see what he ends up.
Do you want to play bingo live?
Do we have enough phrases to say bingo?
Oh, for sure. Hugo Kalshi, it's probably there now.
Let me check. Kalshi Fed. Usually they have like one or two words. I don't know if they have massive.
No, there's like 20, 30 words, dude.
Dude, they already have one for Trump. What will Trump say during his remarks in Pennsylvania? That's starting in like 10 minutes. Look at this.
For sure.
Auto pen, casino. Dude, people are just they're guessing anything here. Olympics. If Donald Trump says any of this, you get paid out.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Trump tonight. Yeah, man.
All right, so we're gonna see
Is
tomorrow.
Ballroom in there? They always have Ballroom in there.
Really? Ballroom?
Yeah, he's building that Ballroom.
I have November 5th, America First, Dividends, Somalia, Sleepy Joe has a 65% chance, Illegal Alien, Rare Earth, Highest Inflation, Military, Beef, November 5th.
What are we talking about on this thing? Okay, so for sure you got to pick fake news, right? Fake news,
yeah.
but you maybe wait for a better price. What happens on November 5th? I don't know. Did you see that thing about someone? Yeah. This one looks like a hard one. But FOMC bingo. Dude, I haven't opened this Kalshi app in a minute. This is totally redesigned.
Yeah,
Have
dude,
you
they're
seen
like
this app?
Yeah, they're number 5 in the App Store, dude. They've started to really grow like heavily.
Oh, this is like Robinhood type UI right now. Interestingly.
Yeah, markets are just growing more and more and more. All right, so we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see what Powell says. Again, thank you everybody for being here. Jason's Twitter in the chat. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday as well.
Adios, man. It's always fun.
Later.
See you guys.
Thank you, Jason.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.